Hi, and welcome to Thursday with a Friend. My name is Lawrence, and man, I have a great guest. And this is a guy that I've talked to an awful lot. I knew that he was Asian before other people knew that he was Asian. And there was one reason why I never asked him on, and that was because I said when I started doing the show that I won't talk to an avatar for hours upon hours. You have to see the face, see how they are. It adds to all of this. And then I finally saw that he showed his face, and I reached out right away, and I was like, "Hey, are you ready to do this?" So anyway, you know who he is. We don't always talk a lot of toys, but we're definitely going to find out how he comes up with all these amazing memes so quickly. And that is my special guest, Chaz the Guru. Thank you for joining. How are you?
What up? What up? What up? I'm doing good,
I'm
man.
I'm so happy. Um, I am so happy that you finally showed your face. I couldn't reach out to you fast enough. Now, again, it wasn't like it was just the other day. I do these, a month or so in advance so people have a chance. Um, but I was glad to see that you finally did it. And I don't fault anyone for not wanting to show their face. Not everyone wants to. And you do a lot of things that can maybe upset some people.
Yep.
We may have upset the same person numerous times.
Yep.
A matter of fact, you
Probably.
were the one that I had when I found out that I lost my Instagram. You were the one that I reached out to you, and you instantly said he hit me up, Jersey Maniac, also, and like all
Yeah.
of our. I don't even. That was actually before I even lost the channel, because he did it numerous times to me. But anyway, we're not gonna.
Yeah. Then he nuked my page, so I had to start a new page. But
Yep, and that's why I have a Punk with Toys the second. Not because I was like, hey, I'm so popular, I need to have two Instagrams. And Instagram doesn't help you out at all. They just,
nope. Nope.
hey, you're screwed. Just
You're
deal with
fucked.
it.
Yep. Yep.
But I'll ask you a couple questions here. Um, First off, where does the name Chaz the Guru come from?
Oh man, that came back from. I did a page on. Oh god, what's that? What was that thing before Facebook?
MySpace.
MySpace. Yeah. So I
Great.
was making a. Yeah, I was just making a MySpace page. God, dude, how long ago? It was like when was MySpace? It was when it was really starting getting
Over
big,
20
two
years ago.
thousand or something like that.
Yeah.
2000, somewhere around there. Because I think my email was 2000 at the end, so it must have been around 2000. And I was just trying to quickly come up with a name. And I think my girlfriend at the time or my brother was helping me, and so I just did Chaz the Guru. That was it, and then there you go. That was it. And then I really hadn't used it too much. I didn't use it on Facebook at all. And then um, I was having a hard time putting my memes in some of the groups because they don't want to offend Hasbro. Because some of mine were kind of dogging on Hasbro. This is back in the Star Wars group collection days. And so my wife said, "Why don't you just do Instagram?" Right? What's Instagram? Right? I'm an old guy. So I'm like, what the fuck's Instagram? So, anyways, did that. So I just used that name, and that was it. So,
All right. So here's the other question. I know what it is, but what is your icon? What is it?
um, yeah. So that's Grogu superimposed on uh, what's his name? Palpatine.
Yep.
And then I did red eyes and kind of made it kind of old a little bit. So that was, I think I made it right when the Mandalorian came out. So I needed an avatar, so I just made it. So that was it.
And it took us forever to figure it out. And then I heard you say it, and I was like, oh, now I see it. But I
What did
couldn't
you think it
figure out.
was?
I have no idea. I thought it was just some sort of like little horror monster.
Mother Teresa?
I never thought of Mother Teresa. No, okay. So I gotta say this. So the reason why I brought up that you're Asian was when we would talk back and forth. I don't even know if you remember this. You had told me that you were Asian, and I don't remember what the context was. And then you would send me some voice notes. I think it was actually when you were at San Diego Comic Con like a couple years ago. And I messaged you back, and I said something like, "I go, dude, you don't even sound like the Trade Federation." And you back with sending me a voice notes, talking like the Trade Federation, and I went, "This is okay. This guy,
That's
he
right.
like he gets the joke. He's not taking anything too serious." And I died. I absolutely died, and that's I totally think of that. So quickly, let's say hi to everyone in the chat because right now we have like 20 people watching. Probably have a few more pop in because people like to see. People want to hear from you. They really do. So quickly, we will start with this guy. And that is my moderator, Matthew Matson. We got David R., U.S. Combat Dojo, Beardy McBearderson, GI Bro, who has the best guns in the community. Men, who's Wreck Ship, who gets the greatest photography of Tony's Figs looking like Sasquatch. We have Bees Battleground, who we may have talked about before we even started. Tony's Figs, who's sitting right here. We have the Toy Elite Network, who is also Ed or Action Figs. Evil Dookie is in the house. We have HK Viper, and we have Mike Gold, Jason S. Viper Scout, and Noan Jin. I think you got that right. And Tony, we were talking about it. That's how you go through it, so you don't take too much time. Let it roll. 9044. I just jumped in here. Tony and I have been talking about it for the Circle of Jerks, and he's like, I'm like, when you inspect it, you guys got to move it a little bit quicker, especially when we have so many people in it. It's easy for me to do it on Monday because I'm alone. But it's like they want to have a nice hour and a half, hour and 45-minute format. I'm like, you can't spend too much time. You just want to scroll right through them. Just go through everyone, say hi. So,
that's all right, good, man.
So let me ask you, how old are you?
I'll be 54 pretty soon.
You're that old?
Yeah, dude.
Damn.
71. I know.
Wow, I thought you were. For some odd reason, I thought you were a little bit younger than me.
How old are you?
I'm 49, 15 December. So, I thought you were actually a little bit younger. For some reason.
No, bro, I'm old, man. I'm old.
Yeah. See, now you're starting to break up again. Now you're getting that crackling again. Yeah. So I don't know if it's maybe when you pulled up the app.
Is it crackling? Crackly?
Yeah, see, now it's still crackling.
Here, you want me to do the hard?
Yeah, let's try that and see. I've had a few times where they have to actually shut down the app, but hopefully not. And quickly, we have Uncle Buck Rex jumping in here saying evening all, and then Machine Man. All right. Beardy McBearderson said he said he had MySpace. He was old as dirt after that. Well, I had MySpace too. I absolutely loved MySpace. I thought it was so cool because you could customize
100% better. 100% better. You put music on there, remember that?
Yeah. See, you're
videos on there.
You're still breaking up.
Want me to exit and come back on?
Yeah, exit and then come back out, and I'll find something to talk about first. Yeah, exit out as soon as you log back in. We'll see if that works. We got Krusty Old Crow jumping in here saying, "Hey Chaz, hey chat." Matthew Matson saying, "I had MySpace. It was so much, dude. It really was." And I know I mentioned this a couple times now. I was listening to some comedian, I think, and he was saying like, we need to bring MySpace back. You had your top 9 friends. Some of you need to be knocked down a little bit because we've brought it up before. Like there have been people that have actually lost friendships because they were removed as the top 10 or the top 9 or whatever it is.
Better?
Right. It sounds better now.
Okay. A little weird.
A little. See now you sound not echoey, but a little far away, but not broken up.
Huh.
I'm
hardwired in now. So
yeah, I can hear you good. Hear the fan going in the background.
Sorry, man. I don't know.
No, it's cool. Everything is good.
Stop dogging on my fan, dude. It's fucking hot.
I wouldn't have even known it was a fan if you hadn't told me that you had a fan going.
Dude, it's hot right now.
Matthew said you sound way better though.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're a little low, but people can turn it up, and hopefully I'm not. I don't know how I sound. So,
Well, you sound fine to me, but I don't know.
all right. So, 54 years old. So we're gonna get in a lot of stuff that we can discuss here because you were coming right in at that whole time of Star Wars. Like you were living it perfectly.
Yeah.
What was your family life like? Were your parents together? Did you have siblings?
Yeah. So, my parents were both immigrants. 7 brothers, or 7 of us. I got 5 brothers, 2 sisters. I'm in the middle somewhere. The last 2 were like way late. They're kind of mistakes, but so yeah, grew up in small town SoCal. It was not that small, but it was Orange County, and yeah, great life, man. Everything was good back then. Grew up in the '80s, fun times. Went to Star Wars in the theater with my dad and my brother. I think it was my brother's 7th birthday. I think I was 5 at the time. I had to be 5, right? So if I was born in '71 and it was what time? 75 or 76 was the Star Wars. Anyways, I think it was 5. But yeah, so I grew up on all the Star Wars toys at the very beginning, from all the way to Return of the Jedi, and then I transitioned into G.I. Joe when G.I. Joe first came out. So that was the original Straight Arm Joes.
So okay, so there's 7 kids.
Yep.
How many brothers and how many sisters?
Got 4 brothers, 2 sisters.
All right, so I'm assuming you had built-in play friends when you were younger.
My brother was an asshole.
Well, you had lots of them.
No. Yeah, I always shared a room with my one brother that's about a year and a half older than me, and so it was always just us 2, and we had a bunch of group of friends. So yeah, so it wasn't really built in like that. My older brothers, we never really played with them. They were just older, and then I had a younger sister, play with the younger sister, and then I had a really, really younger brother. I was in high school. I was in high school when he was born or graduating, and so he was a baby, so I didn't want to play with him. But
So, when you were like as a little kid, do you remember like the first toys you played with? Not like the first toys you fell in love with, but like again, our age, and again, I was born right at the end of 75, so more a 76 kid. But like for me, it's always like adventure people. Do you remember like the first toys you played with?
I think Lincoln Logs. I think the first thing I had was Lincoln Logs, and I think we had Tinker toys too, but that might have been my older brothers. Remember the Tinker toys?
Yep.
Those ones with the wood things that went into the round.
The little sprocket.
Yeah, it was pretty sad, but yeah. I had a Teddy Ruxpin.
That was the 80s. Teddy Ruxpin was the 80s, though.
I know, but my grandma got me that. Yeah, Teddy Ruxpin. Garbage Pail Kids collected those stickers.
So what was the first toys that you remember like falling in love with?
Star Wars.
Was it Star Wars?
Oh yeah.
Because again, like a few months ago, my son was talking to me, and he asked about when Darth Vader first showed up on screen, and I was like, okay. He's like, was it really that big of a deal? And I'm like, well, yeah. He goes, but no, like was it like this big deal? Like, why? I'm like, I don't know, because he has like this deep voice. He looked menacing. He's like, yeah, no, but like when you first see it, like, what was it like? And I go, how fucking old do you think I am? Like, he's like, well, when did it come out? I'm like, it came out in 77. I was born literally right at the end of 75. I remember Jedi. Like, I'd seen the other ones. I saw Jedi 7 times in the movie theater. So I didn't see them. Like, so you remember seeing Star Wars in the movie theater.
Oh yeah. I remember it was a Sunday morning, and it was Saturday or Sunday morning because I know it was a weekend. And my dad was looking through the paper, and he said, "Oh, you want to go to the movie?" He said to my brother because it was his birthday, and he said, "Oh, how about this Star Wars?" And I was thinking, oh, it's like, like a war movie, like a World War II war movie or something like that. I'm like, but I'm a kid, so I'm like, all right, we went, and man, it was awesome. It was pretty awesome. But I always think that when I look back, I got more enjoyment, I think, out of like Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, because I thought those movies were better, But still, it was pretty amazing. Star Wars. I went to see it in the theater.
Yeah. No, again, like it's funny because like I know you have kids. We'll talk about it later on. The stuff that they think that we had back then, or shall I say, didn't have. Like my kids asked me before, like, did you have color TV? I'm like, man, dude. And then I'm like, well, I didn't have black and white in my room. I mean, I did have a black and white in my room.
There were a lot of black and white TVs. We had one that was like it must have been from the 60s or 50s. I mean, it wasn't our main TV, but it was like in the hallway, because it was mainly like a cabinet where my mom put like, vases and shit on when you walk in. But it had like an old black and white TV in the cabinet, because back in the day, they had the cabinets where the TV was like built in there, and it was black and white. It had the UHF dial at the top. Remember, where you could go through all those UHF channels?
Yeah, when you literally had to take the V8, was it VHF? Yeah, you had to turn the VHF to a specific dial to get the UHF.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually, believe it or not, we had bought. My mom had bought me Final Fantasy, the first one on Nintendo, and me and two other friends stayed up for like 3 days straight playing it upstairs. And then they left. We hadn't beat it yet. And when I beat it, I only beat it on the black and white. So I had never seen the main villain in color till like years later, when it was, on like YouTube and stuff.
That's funny.
I wasn't going to go back and beat it. Like, I wasn't a video game guy. So you see Star Wars. You said you fall in love with that. And how long before you mentioned G.I. Joe? How long before... Is it right when you first saw G.I. Joe?
Yeah, I can't even remember because I got the figures when they first came out, the first wave, straight arm, and I must have seen them. I think I saw them at Kmart on the peg, and that's when I bought them off the peg. I think they were like $1.99 back then. The figures were $1.99, and yeah, like. Dude, I loved it, dude. As soon as I transitioned, like right away, like I just walked away from Star Wars. I started making like clothes for the ninja, for like Snake Eyes and the ninja and Storm Shadow, and making weapons and stuff like that. I got into it fast. So. But yeah, but Star Wars, the figure, I fell so much in love with it. I remember my mom was awesome. Like we didn't get a lot of toys. But at Christmas, man, she freaking went all out, man. She probably pissed off my dad, because she would get us like all the figures, and like, I mean, she would try to hide them, or then she would put them like in, like wrap them, put under the tree like 2 weeks ahead of time, and I'd be like so excited. I'd be trying to rip the paper a little bit to see what it was. And I remember going in there like ripping it. I could see Greedo and Hammerhead, and I was like so stoked. I could not wait. I could not wait. It's like when you got the Sears catalog, and you go through it, or the JCPenney catalog, and you look at the toys, and you get that feeling in your stomach where you're like, oh, I'm so excited, I can't wait,
That's something kids will never understand. Like, and that, like, you didn't go through the book and like circle what you wanted. You went through that book at least once a day.
Oh yeah.
And you just stare at it like you actually had it, right?
Oh, dude, that thing was on the hamper in the bathroom, so you're taking a crap, and you're like looking at these, you're like, oh my god, I can't wait to get this one, I can't wait to... And like, that feeling, like, if you could bottle up that feeling, and sell it, man, that anticipation, the happiness, there's nothing like it, man. There's nothing, you wish you could feel it now, where you get excited for toys now, but not like when you were a kid.
No.
Because number one, you couldn't afford it, so your parents would have to buy it for you. So there was always uncertainty if you were actually going to get it.
Yeah,
right. but just the
Bible for kids. Machine Man says Bible for kids, and I think Like you nailed it. And really, it's a small section in the Sears catalog or J.C. Penney catalog. Here's a small little toy section, you know.
Yep.
But I guarantee you, like that was the most looked at of all that, because every kid was waiting for it.
Yep.
And you also said hamper, and I've not heard the term hamper in a long time.
Wait, what do you call it, dude?
Well, no, that's what we used to call it, hamper. But I just have a clothes basket that I throw everything in.
Dude, we still call it hamper, dude. We still call it hamper. So put your clothes in the hamper, telling the kids.
But I don't have a hamper. I just have a laundry basket that I leave out that I throw my clothes in. That's why I'm like, I haven't heard it in forever. But we had one. I remember we had a wicker one.
Yeah, they were all wicker back then, dude. We had a wicker one too. It was a brown wicker one.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you'd hide the Playboys in the behind where the clothes are, so your mom couldn't find it, you know. So, anyways.
So what was it about G.I. Joe that what was it about G.I. Joe?
I don't know, man. I don't know. And you know what? It's weird how it gripped me, because when Classified came out, and like, oh, they're making 6-inch or whatnot, and then they came out with the Snake Eyes 00 set, and I skipped that. I was like, I don't know if I don't know. G.I. Joe was so long ago, whatever. And then I start seeing some of the figures in the store, and I think I got Snake Eyes and Cobra Commander and Destro, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll just collect the Cobras. And then I start collecting everything. And then it hit me again, man. The same thing happened. So now I'm like less Star Wars and like all about G.I. Joe. So I don't know. I don't know what to do, because I'm trying to remember when it first came out. Was there even a cartoon when it first came out? I don't even think so.
No, the cartoon came out after.
Yeah, I don't even think. And I wasn't into the comics either. So I just played with the toys.
I mean, I remember the commercials. I mean, I can remember. I've talked about this before. I can remember exactly where I was, what I was doing, what I was playing with when I saw that first G.I. Joe commercial. I was sitting in front of the TV on one of those stands that should never have held a TV, let alone those heavy-ass TVs we had. And I was sitting on the floor playing with my snow speeder and my Lone Ranger and Tonto, which oddly enough I still have. And that G.I. Joe commercial came on. And I turned around. My dad was sitting behind me, which is kind of odd because he was almost always at work. And I'm like, can I get one of those? And he said, we'll see. And like, that was it, man. We walked into Sears one day. I said, can I get a G.I. Joe? He told me to get 2 vehicles. I grabbed the Vamp, and I forget what the other one that I grabbed was. And then he said, well, why don't you get that one? Pointing to the Hell. And he said, because then you'll have 2 figures and 2 vehicles. And I swear to God, it was like at Sears, it was like the roof had opened, light was shining, angels were singing, and it's like, oh my God, Dad, you're so smart. I would have had one, you know. I guess I don't what would have been the one. Would have been the Hell, not the Hell, the Flak. That's the only one that didn't come with. That's the only one that didn't come with something.
The Flak is a gun, right? The one where he sits down, right? Yeah, I had that one.
That's the only one that didn't have a figure, because the double machine gun, the double Gatling gun, I think that was Series 2. Because I never had that till 4 years ago, believe it or not. I don't even remember the name of it. As Ed is saying, it was the damn commercials for G.I. Joe. It was amazing. They were amazing. And once you got one, even before you had swivel arm battle grip, dude, you were like, I can bend the knees, I can bend the arms.
Yeah, exactly.
Where, you know, you remember you had that. If you had that damn snow trooper, and you tried pointing his gun, he was gonna fall over.
Yep. So funny. They all were like that though. They were all like, you know, it's just a straight arm. And that was when they did the battle grip. That was like revolutionary, because then like, oh my God, they can move their arms and hold the guns like this and that. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. And the waist where you could actually pose them out, the legs and everything. That was pretty revolutionary.
And here's the other thing: is if you had a parent that understood even a little bit of toys, if you had all the straight arms, you could convince them to get the swivel arm because first off, you probably already broke the thumbs.
Yep, exactly.
But once they saw how the arms moved, they had to rebuy them for you.
No, my parents wouldn't.
I have a couple of the straight arm figures. I actually recently, I think I sold this. No, I ended up selling the vamp, a vamp with a straight arm clutch because I have a vamp with swivel arm, and I hate the straight arms. They're awful.
Yeah.
They're awful. And Gun Bunny is joining us.
Yeah.
All right. So during that time, were there other toys that you got into? Motu, Transformers?
I collected some Transformers. I had some Transformers. I wasn't really like super into it, but like I had the one like the tape deck that turned into the pterodactyl and the panther, and I had the Megatron, and I wasn't really so super into it though. Motu had everything. I had Castle Grayskull. I had all the figures from that. My brother and I. So yeah, there was a time we were into that as well. So yeah, I had those.
So what's your closest brothers or closest sibling, shall I say?
He's like a year and a half older than me.
Okay. Are you the youngest?
No. I'm in the middle, man.
Okay.
Middle. So I have one one's a year and a half older than me, and then another one that's I'm trying to think, like 5 years, and then 6.5 years older than me also, and then I got a sister that's I'm trying to think how much older than I am.
So it was not even like the 1, 2, 3, 4. Like my dad had, there was 7. I'm sorry, there was 8 in my dad's family. The last brother died at like a year. He had holes in his heart, but they were almost all like year after year after year after year. And then like I think the last 2, there's a little bit of a gap, maybe 2 years, but they were like, my grandparents were like fucking rabbits, clearly. Like they were just doing like they finished and when they're trying to make another one, it was like, stop.
Yeah, my parents came. My mom came from 7 kids. My dad came from 8 kids. I think his mom came from 19 kids.
Holy shit,
that's nuts, right?
Dude, I can't even remember all their names. I wouldn't want to. There's got to be some you don't like.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Maybe that's why you kept having them because you didn't like any of them.
I think you did it because you wanted slaves, is what you wanted, man, and to help work around the house or the farm or something, right? So they started them having kids.
I don't even want to think about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so my parents had the first 4. Us 4 were pretty much in a row, like maybe like a year and a half between, and then probably a good 5-6 years before my sister, and then probably another good like another 5 more than that, maybe even like 10 years between my other sister, and then probably another like 5 years or 8 years between my little brother. Yeah, so the last 2 were surprises.
They were accidents.
Yeah.
You can say it. They're not listening. They were accidents.
Yeah. Well, I'll send it to them. You're accidents.
Especially to your little brother. You told your little... Well, you probably told your sister that too.
Yeah. It's funny though. I'm probably closer to them now than I am with my older brothers. So I talk to them more often. So.
And then you said you have a much older sister, though.
No. Not older. I only got older brothers.
Oh, I thought you said you had an older sister. All right. So, I mean, it sounds like you guys had a good amount of toys. I mean, for having that many kids, it sounds like I would assume your parents were pretty well, not well off, but did well enough that you guys didn't struggle.
Yeah. I mean, my dad had a full-time job and his own business too on the side. So my dad worked a lot.
Okay.
And he still had time to coach us, for soccer, and my mom stayed at home. who's gonna watch all the kids, right? So my mom stayed at home, and
Yes,
yeah,
my
so,
grandmother.
back then it was easier, man. Like one parent. I talk to kids now and stuff like I said. It's way harder now for you guys. Back in the day, one parent could work a blue collar job, could have a house, a car, a stay at home wife, and raise some kids. And
Oh,
not really struggle, right?
Yeah, my grandfather, my whole family worked at Ford other than my dad, who worked at Chrysler. And my dad tells a story. He said, like, when they bought the house, when they bought their house, my grandfather, who was very cheap, when he bought stuff, he bought good stuff, but he was really cheap. And he told my grandmother, you cannot buy any new furniture until this house is paid off. And I went, geez. I go, how long did it take to pay off the house? And my dad goes, 7 years. He paid the house off in 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is nuts, man. Imagine doing that. That's like a car loan. They do car loans now for like 7 to 10 years.
Yeah. And
like,
she lived in it to the day she died. She lived in it to the day she died. And my grandfather, he had Alzheimer's, so he was, he passed away first. But yeah. And there was, crazy stuff. Like, do you remember trash compactors in houses?
Yeah, I remember them.
My grandfather was so cheap, he refused to buy bags. So the original bags were there.
What do you do? You just emptied it?
They used it for the garbage, and then they'd take the garbage out rather than use the trash compactor.
Oh, so he didn't use the actual compactor itself?
No.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
We had one, like it's weird, right? Because they were only popular 10 years, I can remember, something like that, where people really had them. And then after that, you didn't see them anymore.
I've never seen one other than at my grandmother's house. So my grandparents' house, only place I've ever seen one.
Really?
Yeah, I would assume if I brought it up, most people would not have any idea what I'm talking about. And think it is a great idea.
They probably think you're talking about Star Wars, the trash compactor.
The same concept, just much smaller.
Yeah, I remember the bags were brown. They were really rigid rectangle.
Yep.
And we had one for a while, and then I think it broke, and then I think my dad just took it out. I think eventually, but it was popular for I want to say not more than 10 years, and people had it. It was almost like a fad where people put them in their house, and then you never heard of it anymore. I hadn't even thought about it until you brought it up now. I totally forgot about trash compactors.
Again, the only one that I have ever seen was at my grandparents' house, and never once did I ever see it used. But that's where you threw the garbage away, and then they take it out.
That's funny. Yeah, it was cool. You go, and you hear the crackling. You ever hear them go on? They never used
No, we never.
So you'd press the button, and then you'd hear the machinery go on, and you hear it.
Yeah.
And you hear the crackling of the trash as it was compacting. Yeah, dude, that's funny.
It kind of makes me want one right now.
You're just unlocked a core memory for me, man. That's crazy.
The fact that you know what I'm talking about and you've dealt with one.
I lived it, dude.
Yeah, I got to see one. It just never got you.
I lived through On TV and what was it, Zenith? Was that the first? No, Z Channel. Or the first cable. Do you remember that at all?
No, we didn't have cable for a long time. So we were very late to getting cable, and it was one of those things where, my dad worked for Dodge Truck before Dodge started making nice looking trucks. So, he was laid off, he'd be laid off, then he'd, get a job again, or he'd get called back or whatever. So, it's kind of funny because someone made a comment recently on one of my classic reviews and said, must be nice to be rich or something and have everything. And I was like, thank you for knowing about me. But it wasn't like that at all. My parents struggled, but my dad was always he grew up with nothing. You have 6 brothers and one sister living in a 3-bedroom house. Guess what? 6 brothers shared the same room.
Yep.
And he made sure that we were gonna have stuff, even if they went without. And being that my birthday is 4 days after Christmas, when when someone said, well, why don't we just do, at Christmas, have a birthday cake? And my dad was always like, no, his birth, that it's separate. Like, that's how my dad always was. He still is to this day. So,
well, I always got screwed because my birthday's the end of November. And so I never really got a party, and everyone just kind of moved it over past my birthday to Christmas.
Yeah. And mine's 4 days after Christmas, and my dad was always like, nope, like it's separate.
Yeah, so my wife, she for my kids, man, she'll do like these crazy ass parties, renting out places and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, like, I never got a party when I was a kid. Back when I was a kid, if there was a party, they did it free at the park. That was the fucking party for the kid, Or if you had a party if you had a party, it wasn't a party where you invited kids over and stuff. It was a party where the family came over and ate food. That was the party.
It was, yeah.
So,
but
back spoiled now.
I know for like my other cousins, when we'd go over there, it's easier if it's in the summer or the spring. When it's Christmas and you live in a small little condo, you can't have everyone over. Yeah. So we'd end up over my grandparents' house or whatever. It's not the same. You're not going out, but I'm, after a while, you realize you're more of a loner and you're not like the rest of your family. And again, if you have that many aunts and uncles, you can imagine you have a lot of cousins.
Yeah.
So as you start getting older and going into middle school, are you still playing with toys? Now you have a much younger brother, so you can use it as an excuse, but are you still like playing with toys when you're in middle school?
We didn't have middle school. We went straight from 7th grade to 8th grade with high school.
Okay. So
7th grade, there was a chick down the street. She was like older. And she's like, you can't be playing with toys. You go to high school, blah, 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 right? So I stopped playing with toys. But you know what? I probably dabbled in them for the next couple years because I thought I would quit. But I had like Techno Viper, and that had to have been, what year was Techno Viper? Because I went into high school 85. And so Techno Viper was after that. So I had some G.I. Joes here and there after that, but it was sprinkled in there.
Well, see, I have the book right here.
Oh, there you go, the Bible.
It's after,
because I'm trying to think of somebody's video, and they were going through all of the G.I. Joe by year. They were showing their figures, and there were some of them that I swear that I have from like 87, maybe 88.
I want to say it's 87 because I'm looking at 88 right now, and I don't have a lot of these figures. 88 was when it really started getting kind of stupid.
So maybe 87 is when I stopped completely.
Hold on, let's see here. Yep, Techno Viper's 87.
Yeah, so
that's Series 6.
So that's probably
3-star. I'd already said what it was, but I was ignoring him.
Yeah, so I probably collected a few of them here and there if I saw them, but I was mostly out probably by then.
And you're much older too, so again, there's that huge age gap because I remember I got some of these figures in 8th grade for me because there was a small time between like 6th and 7th grade where 6th and 7th grade I really wasn't. Probably was still picking up some just because you still get stuff. In 8th grade there was I found another kid, he played with them, and we started playing G.I. Joe together again. And we had this assignment where we had to make fake money. Well, we had fake money, but we had to create stuff. And people did like the friendship bracelets and stuff like that. I happened to be I happened to be absent when he did when we were supposed to do um, the assignment, in front of the class. And when they asked, like, well, what was, like, how did you guys break things down? He said, well, like people gave us their GI Joes or something. I forget what it was, and they all laughed and they go, well, he wanted all the GI Joes, so I just gave them to him. And I was like so embarrassed, but he gave me all the GI Joe stuff, and I still have that's why I have all the Tiger Force or all the Python Patrol stuff and the Iron Grenadiers. It's all because of that.
Well, you're not embarrassed now.
Oh, I ain't fucking embarrassed. I don't even know why I was embarrassed then. I think I was more embarrassed at that time because all my friends, because we were all skateboarders, they were all a year older than me, so they were already in high school. So I didn't have anyone, But I look now, I'm like, fuck you. I still drive. Still, when I drive by, because he lives like right by where my ex lives, I still think like, oh, we were playing like in the trees over there and stuff.
Yeah. So like I said, when I went to high school at 8th grade, they're like, oh, you're not supposed to play with toys anymore. So that's when I started phasing out. It was hard though, you felt sad. You're like, oh man, I guess this is what I got to do. I guess this is what growing up is like, right? So you got to stop playing with toys.
Yeah, I mean, I always had my GI Joes around, but again, I've said before, like we were skateboarders, so we're already at the bottom of the barrel, especially in 89, 90, right? Skateboarding is dead, and my friends, some collected Star Wars when Star Wars was dead. There was nothing Star Wars. They were into video games. So if my GI Joes were out, no one said anything. But I didn't play with them. I didn't, But we still always went to the toy section. I mean, to this day, like even back then, it was like we always went to the toys first for some reason.
So when you were skateboarding, that's when they had the wider boards, right? Like
I started
Paul Peralta and all that crap. Right?
I started in probably around 88, 87, 88. My mom passed away in 89, right after I had got my first skateboard, like my first brand new skateboard. So I had already started. So probably late 87, 88 was when I started. So I saw the shaped boards, the football boards, and then into what they call them now as popsicle sticks.
Yeah. So when I was young, when I was a kid, that's when Tony Alva, that was like the Dogtown.
Yep.
Right. So that was big. So my older brothers were like really into skateboarding. My dad built like a 6-foot ramp that, they dragged out to the sidewalk and they'd go up and do. I actually found some old photos of them on the ramp. But yeah, that was way back in the day. My dad coached my brothers to the Southern California State Finals for AYSO soccer, and at the state final championships they had. This is back when they had the Pepsi challenge. Remember where they would? I don't know if you were too young.
I remember the Pepsi challenge.
So they would go out there and they would.
As you're wearing a Coca-Cola shirt.
Yeah. Well, anyway, they would put it out there, and you'd have to tell taste it and tell them which one is Pepsi or Coke. But they had a Pepsi. I think it was a Pepsi half pipe, and Tony Alva was actually skating in it at the finals. So it's pretty cool. It was up north somewhere. It was like up in Sacramento, I think.
You grew up in California, so you were like, yeah. I mean, that's the mecca of skateboarding.
Yeah, it was huge, man.
I'm shocked. I mean, even when skateboarding was dead, and skateboarding was dead in the late 80s and early 90s, but everything came out of California. Even to this day, skateboarding still. So when I hear someone is from California and they're not into they weren't into skateboarding ever, I'm like, that seems odd.
I mean, it was everywhere, dude. I can't skateboard worth a shit, dude. I'm goofy footed, and so I try, dude. I cannot skateboard. Like my left foot's in the front. I'm right footed, and my left foot's in the front. I'm trying to go. It's horrible, man.
It's funny because I remember my ex. One day, I don't know. Like again, I would talk skateboarding, and we were talking about it, and I kept referring to goofy footed because I'm regular. And she's like, "You need to stop saying that." I mean, what do you mean? She's like, "That's such a negative connotation. Just just because you skate a certain way, you call it regular." I'm like, I don't call it that. That's what it's called. It's called.
It's always been called that.
Yeah, I'm like, it's called goofy and it's called regular. And she's like, it's just so negative. And she's like, just because I'm like, Susan, it has nothing to do with me. Little old me did not start calling it goofy, and it made it all the way back to California, and people were on it. And like, she would still argue with me. And I was skating with my buddy one day, I don't know, in the past 10 years. And we were talking about it. He's like, my wife said the same thing to me. Like, she's arguing with me, like, you got to stop it. That's negative. And people that skate that skate that way are going to think that they're wrong. I'm like, this is what it's called. Like, it has nothing to do with how you skate. Now, if you skate Mongo, you're wrong. All right. I'm sorry.
What kind is that? I never heard of that.
Mongo is when you push with your front foot.
Okay. So I'm right-footed. And so I push with my right foot, but my foot's like towards the front, but then I have to switch it. And when I'm on it, I put my left foot on the back, right? And it should be the right foot on the back, right?
So wait, so when you push,
I push with my right foot.
Okay, but is your front? Are you pushing with your back foot? Like, yeah. Is the foot on your board towards the nose or towards the tail?
I put it towards the nose, but then I switch it. So
okay.
When I get on it, I switch that left foot. I push with my right foot. My left foot's on the board, and then when I switch it, I switch it from the front to the back like that. So then my left foot is in the back. So then I try to.
So in actuality, you would skate Mongo because you're pushing with your front foot. But you said aesthetically that looks absolutely awful, and I refuse to do it, even if that's subconsciously. So I have a little bit more respect for that. It is just the ugliest thing. It is the ugliest thing ever when someone pushes with their front foot. And there are a few pros that used to do it. And not Jamie Thomas. God, I can't think of his name. But one of the guys said, Jamie Thomas pulled him to the side and said, dude, you are like, you rip, but you got to stop pushing Mongo. And he goes, it was unsolicited advice that I was so offended that he would say this, but he goes, I fully got it.
So Mongo, you keep your foot, the one that you're, wait, okay. So if I'm right-footed, I would be pushing I would have my right foot on the board and pushing with my left. So whatever the back foot is, you're keeping it on there, and you're pushing with the front foot. That's what.
Yes.
That's what okay, no, I don't do that, but I kind of do a combination, I guess, because I'm pushing with my right foot, and my left foot is towards the front, but then I switch it.
Yeah.
So then the left foot is in the back, and then I try to do my.
And you'll never see one current pro ever do that, ever skate like that again, because, well, first off. Kids today now, they learn to skate. They like if they do like switch tricks, they learn how to push switch. So like I push switch Mongo because I can't. I've skated too long. You're almost 50. I'm not relearning how to push. So I push. If I'm going switch backwards, I push Mongo. Some of the pros do that, but you'll never see like regular ones. Like, you'll never see a pro push with their back foot, with their front foot. It's just ugly.
Yeah. I think I've seen people do that though.
Oh, people do it, but you'll never see a professional skateboarder do it. Yeah. 30 people right now are going, shut the fuck up.
I know, we're talking about skateboarding. Like ollie, dude. I couldn't do an ollie just to save my life. I tried it. I can't do it, man. So.
Skateboarding is not for everyone.
And you know what? I can snowboard though. That's a weird thing. I can snowboard.
Well, that's because they strap it to you.
Yeah, I guess so.
So when you got into high school, what did you do? So you said you kind of put the toys away. Did you get into comic books?
No, I did have some G.I. Joe comic books growing up before I went to high school, because I would go down to the thrifties, local thrifties. They would have the comic book rack. You could get a 10-cent scoop of ice cream. Back in my day, ice cream was 10 cents. So I had some, but I wasn't really big into it. You know, I'd get them here and there, and I'd read some of the G.I. Joe comics here and there, but I wasn't like, oh yeah, waiting for the next episode, things like that.
Do you remember the commercials for the comics?
Yeah, I don't even remember, dude.
Because I remember that as much as I remember the commercials for the actual toys.
See, I remember the toy commercials. I don't really remember the comic book commercials, though.
I would say I remember the comic commercials even more. And only because, like, that's where you saw Zaymont and Tomax for the first time on the four-wheeler going around.
Then I probably did see it. I probably didn't really put it together then. It was just comic. Because I remember seeing that. I remember seeing them on the commercials.
Yeah, because they went around it. That's where you saw Flint for the first time. I remember that type of stuff. Like, because some of those are very iconic. And again, the comics were only out. I mean, they come out every month. So the commercial didn't last very long. But then all of a sudden, a lot of times that commercial, if I remember correctly, would kind of get repurposed into the toy commercial too. HK Viper says pushing switches hard, but looks so much smoother in here for the skateboard talk. No, you're absolutely right. You are, dude. HK, you are absolutely right. For the young kids, they should learn how to push switch. But for the old fucks like myself, and as long as someone like Mike Carroll and Eric Costin say the same thing, I can deal with it. Because I tell people, if you ever see me do because I do switchboard slides. If you see me push switch into a switchboard slide, that's 2 tricks. All right. I'm considering that pushing switch a trick. But so then what are you doing in high school? I know you mentioned that you were playing soccer.
Yeah, I played soccer, but not for the school, because the coach was kind of an asshole. So a lot of us players that played ASO didn't play for the high school team. So I was mainly just a nerd, man. I got straight A's. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think 8th grade. 8th grade is when eighth or 9th grade, around there. I know you've heard of Knott's Berry Farm?
Had what?
Knott's Berry Farm. It's an amusement park.
Yes.
Out here in Connecticut. So back in the day, they had dance clubs there. So kids that were, underage, we would all go there on Friday, Saturday night and go dancing. They had one club that was called Studio K, and they played all the hip hop and stuff up there. And then another one played Depeche Mode, Cure, and all that stuff. In another one called Cloud 9. So that's basically it, man. On the weekends, I'd play soccer on the weekends. Go to Knott's Berry Farm because we had annual passes, and had all my friends there. Mostly, friends from high school. Some would go to the club too in there, and so that was pretty much it, man. We'd do that. So
you were just like you said, you were pretty much a nerd in school.
Yeah, I just did a lot of stuff. Well, from probably 9th grade, 8th grade, I kind of was an F off because I had still some friends from my elementary school, and they were kind of F offs. And then I became better friends with one of my friends from soccer, and he was like a straight A student. And so I just kind of hung out with him and his friends, and just got more serious about school. So
what nationality are you? Because you said both your parents were immigrants.
Yeah, from Holland. So
where?
I'm Holland.
Okay, wait. Where there's Asians in Holland?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm like
all the Dutch look like me, dude. No, I'm just kidding. No, so I'm Dutch and Indonesian and Japanese.
Really?
So yeah, so if you look at the history of Indonesia, right? You heard of the Dutch East Indies, right? Back in your history books, right? So the Dutch East
Dude,
Indies.
I try not to think about school.
All right, man. So I'm gonna give you some history right now. So the Dutch East Indies. That's Indonesia was a colony from Holland, and so I think it was in the 50s, no 60s. That Indonesia got their independence, and so they kicked out all the Dutch and all the people that were part Dutch, half Dutch. There was a lot of Dutch Indos, and so they became refugees in Holland, and then so that's where you got a lot of Dutch Indos. So, anyways,
Spec here says
I do have them, dude. I do have them.
he wears wooden
They're in a
clogs.
box now. Yep.
Is why he can't skate and grows tulips in addition to collecting toys.
That's right. Yeah, I did. You know what? I grew up, but we had wooden shoes at the fireplace. Yeah.
This is not where you want wooden shoes. You don't want wooden shoes by the fireplace.
Yeah, well, that's where we had them, man. We had back in the day. So the Dutch tradition at Christmas is Sinterklaas, which is Saint Claus, I guess. So he looks like Santa Claus, and then you had Zwarte Piet, which is Dutch for Black Pete, and so it would be there was a Dutch Indo social club because there were a lot of Dutch Indo immigrants in the Southern California area, and so they made up their own social club. And so Christmas, somebody that you'd go there, and then somebody would come, Sinterklaas would come, and you'd hear the clogging of the horses and the jingling, and then then Sinterklaas would come up, and then he'd tell you if you were bad. And the tradition is that Zwarte Piet, there would be a couple Zwarte Piets, Black Pete's, and it's probably not politically correct now, but they would be, have black face, whatever. But it wasn't supposed to be, because that's what Zwarte Piet was supposed to be in the tradition. It was supposed to be, a black person, right? And so if you were bad, and so the parents would tell them if they were bad or not, and they would put you in the suck, which is the sack. It would be like a burlap, like potato sack. And so if you were bad, man, the Black Pete would grab you, and they would put you in the sack upside down, and they would take you away, and the kids were crying and everything. Oh my God, it was. So they terrorized you at Christmas. You were afraid around Christmas time when Zwarte Piet and Sinterklaas were there. But yeah, so that was the old tradition. So.
All right, so you're Dutch, Japanese,
Indonesian.
Okay.
Yep.
I was not expecting you to say Dutch when you.
My last name's Dutch. I won't say it here, but yeah.
No, you don't need to. I don't. Not everyone needs to know everyone's last name. That's it's very interesting because, again, I knew you were Asian, and it's it's weird when you think about that because I went through my whole life. So many people would ask me if I was Chinese, which I'm like, no, I'm Mexican and Italian, and then a mix of other things. And I even when we were at Joe Fest, I got, I don't know why I say this shit. It just brings up more people to take shots at me. The delivery guy messaged me and said, someone just asked me how Asian Larry is doing. I'm like, God damn it. Now my stepbrother and sister are both half Japanese. And I'm like, I don't look anything like them, and definitely nothing like their mother. Like, you know what I mean? It's like
So my dad, I'll give you a little story. My dad looks Mexican. So he worked at a major grocery chain plant as an engineer, and one day he comes home.
Well, right there we know that he's not Mexican then.
So listen, he comes home and he's on this poster from the grocery store, that they have in the back room, the propaganda piece, showing diversity, they put in the back room with the employees. And so there was a white woman, a black guy, and then there was like something. I'm trying to remember. I think there might have been a black woman too, and then there was my dad, and we're like, Dad, you're like the Mexican on the, because he looked like it. I'm telling you, like I do jobs with him because my dad does like electrician and oops, my dad does like my dad is electrician.
You just went Mattson on us.
So my dad does like electrician and refrigeration, and I'd go on jobs with him when I was a kid, and people would just start speaking Spanish to him, and my dad's like, I don't speak Spanish, you know, but he looks. You would think he was.
If you would have said you're Mexican, I can fully see it. I have a buddy, a younger guy, Shane. I skate with. He's half black, half white, but he looks Mexican. And I've often said, like, dude, you look more Mexican than I do. You know, like, and then you see him at other times, and you're like, all right, now I see the black in you.
That's funny. Yeah, well, one of my daughters, my older daughter, she looks Mexican. People would think she's Latino, you know.
And then you have guys like Tony who are like super white, and you're like, you're not Mexican, dude. All right, so you get all straight A's because you're Asian.
That's right.
Really good at. I'm assuming
it's natural, dude. It's natural.
You're really good at math.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel any better, my Japanese, my half Japanese stepbrother is an engineer and super smart, like super smart.
But that's the funny thing, you know, I've always been good at math. And it's weird. I've always been good at math. And one of my daughters really good at math too, you know.
So this will make you laugh. I'm sitting there at Christmas. I'm sitting there at Christmas with my stepsister, and my stepsister is about 20 years younger than me. Maybe, yeah, I think she's like 20 years younger than me. So we're sitting there, and their mom is, 100% Japanese, but not born there, right? She doesn't speak a lick of Japanese. She's a nurse. And somehow the topic comes up. About like when an Asian patient would come in, and she would talk to them in an Asian accent. Oh, are you okay? Like, and that's how she talked. Like, and Keel and I are looking at, again, her name is Karen. I'm sorry. Like, again, her name is Karen. And Keel, that's her daughter. We're looking at her like, and she goes, Mom, you don't speak Japanese. And she's like, yeah, I know. And she goes, well, what if someone started talking to you in Japanese? And she goes, oh, I would just say that I'm Chinese. There's so many different dialects. And like, we're like, oh my God, like that is like the most racist thing ever, but it's coming from your own culture.
It's smart. It's a little hack, dude.
It is. Like, so like, yeah, like if someone was Philippine and they tried speaking in
Tagalog?
Yes, that's it. I didn't believe that was a real language. I'm like, that's not a real language. That is a Girl Scout cookie.
That's funny. That's Tagalong, dude. Tagalong.
That's how it's spelled. So someone speaks in, like, I just can't believe she's telling us, and I don't even remember exactly the reason how it came up, but I just remember Keel and I are like, what? Like, this was only a few years ago. It wasn't even that long ago.
Well, when I went to Hawaii in my 20s, and we went to like a luau and stuff, and I had people there that were Hawaiian thought I was Hawaiian. I'm like, no, I'm not Hawaiian. So I get mistaken for everything, man. So it's no big deal.
I could see that too.
People think I'm Filipino too sometimes. So
I can see that.
Yeah. So I'm like the Zartan of the Asian world.
I don't. What's funny is that I don't see Japanese because I've seen my brother and stepsister. Like, so like I don't see that at all. A matter of fact, like once you said your dad can look Mexican, I'm like, I kind of see that more.
So I would be a quarter Japanese, quarter Dutch, and 50% Indonesian is what I would be. And I don't know anything about the Japanese side because it happened from my grandma. So my mom was half Japanese. And,
There's lots of documentaries about what happened to the Japanese in World War II.
Well, that's what happened. So we don't. So my grandma was not full, but I mean completely half Dutch, half Indo. My mom's dad was Japanese, but we don't know. It's a whole sordid story, so we don't really know exactly what happened and all that. My grandma's gone, my grandpa's gone, but who I thought was her grandpa, who's the father of my mom's brothers and sisters, they're gone. He's gone. My mom's gone. So we don't know exactly what happened, but suffice to say, my mom was half Japanese. And if you saw my mom, you could tell she has like really cheeky eyes, right? So
It's a very strong trait.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you see like both my friends that are mixed, like Tony. I've known him I know him almost 40 years, and he was really the first black guy I ever met. We're kids. I go over his house. Hey, Mom, this is Larry, whatever. Mom is as white as you can imagine. And that's when he's like, I'm like, what, who? And he's like, oh, did I tell you that I'm mixed? Nope. Go on playing video games because it didn't really matter. But even to this day, like I see his mom and I'm like, damn, she's white.
Well, that's, when you bring that up, you say like nothing really matters. Like people are so sensitive. I think these days, it's crazy. Back in the day, like I had a buddy who was Mexican, one that was like just straight up white. Well, obviously me, and we had friends of like all ethnicities, and we would bag on each other nonstop. I mean, we would get like bag on like ethnic shit. We would, and it's funny, but we'd all just walk away because it was freaking hilarious. Dude. It's like
you're right, like the whole culture now. And so when I started skating again, I started skating with my buddy Tony, who's mixed, right? And I meet this other guy. He's a little bit older than me, and he's Filipino. All right. And so we're talking, and he brings up this other older guy that he goes, there's another older guy that skates here. Now there's only so many of us. And he goes, he used to skate for another company, or he used to skate for another shop back in the day. We were on the same team together. And I figured out really quickly who he's talking about. And I'm like, I don't know. Can you tell me a little more? And he goes, he's into like import tuners, like import cars. I'm like, man, I really know who he's talking about. He's like super smooth, like everything he does, it's like butter. I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, and he's like, man, I can't. I go, is he black? And his face drops, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, why would you start with that? First off, he's a guy in his 40s who's black. We've just eliminated about 80% of the skateboarders here.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, like you're not saying anything negative about him. Just like this guy, yeah. I'd be like, yeah, he's about my age, Filipino. Oh, well, boom, we nailed this down. Yeah, a lot easier, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, you should lead with that. Like, hey, oh yeah, he's he's Latino. Oh yeah. When you start dancing around, I mean, that's the main identifier, right? If you're an eyewitness, you see what you would see with your eyes. So tell them what you're seeing with your eyes, right?
But again, it's one of those things where it's like you're just eliminating certain things, and nobody thinks twice about going, yeah. Do you know who Lawrence is? No. Older skateboarder, really short. Okay, like that's. Yeah. He is mixed. Yes. He's not one of the jerks though.
That's funny.
Well, someone might think that I'm talking about the white Mexican Tony. So, all right. So you graduate. I'm assuming you graduated high school, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you go on to college, or did you go right into the workforce?
No, I went to college right away.
Do you mind me asking what you went for?
Business.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that something you continued on?
So yes, No, I graduated. I got my degree, and then I got a job in a different field. So and basically that's it.
Which I hear from a lot of people. Now,
Yeah.
now during this time, like, what are you doing? Are you collecting anything,
No,
or are
I'm
you
playing.
just
I just play hockey. So this time,
oh, now you're throwing all kinds of weird things at me. Now you play hockey too?
yeah. So around that time, I'm trying to think. When did Gretzky come over?
Okay, I was gonna ask, what is it the Wayne Gretzky effect?
Yes, it was. It was a Wayne Gretzky effect because when Gretzky came over, but I was actually watching right before Gretzky came over to the Kings because one of my best friends, he was a huge hockey fan, so he'd watch hockey. We'd go over there all the time. We'd play. Um, he had a Commodore 64. I don't know if you remember what those were. Remember that game? It was called Mule. So we'd be playing Mule and watching hockey on the Prime Ticket, the Kings games. And that's back when Bernie Nichols was on the team. Who else was on there? Jimmy Carson. And then when Gretzky came over,
I believe you got Jimmy Carson from the Detroit Red Wings.
Yep, got him from the Red Wings. You're right. And then when Gretzky came over, we decided, hey, let's get some sticks and start playing, right? So we started. So I'm the one who actually, because I was actually at a job, and I started buying hockey sticks. But back then, in California, you couldn't find real sticks. I mean, you probably could somewhere, but if you went to the sporting goods store, it was the plastic stick with the plastic blade.
Yep.
And a ball.
Those were the street hockeys.
So that's what you had. So I would buy some. I made goalie nets out of PVC pipe and net that I bought from the hardware store. We made goalie equipment out of foam pad, cardboard, and duct tape. And so we would just get people to the tennis courts and start playing. And then I think I was right around rollerblades started coming out. So then I got rollerblades, and people slowly start transitioning onto rollerblades. And then, dude, we would get, I'm not even kidding you, we'd get 40 people out at the tennis courts, and finally they start kicking us out because they said we're scratching up the tennis courts. And then we'd be playing in like underground parking garages. And then finally,
really?
Yeah. Then
like all for street hockey, like.
Yeah. And
wow, that's awesome. I mean, that's awesome because like what you're saying, it reminds me of like how like when we'd go skateboarding somewhere and you'd find like a garage, especially here in Michigan, where in the winter, like you'd find stuff like that. It's weird to think of like, I know BMX does it and rollerblading, but to think you guys would do that with street hockey is awesome.
Yeah, so because they didn't have anything, there's nowhere to play. Like a few years after that, they started coming out with they started building actual street hockey rinks, but they weren't regulation. They were kind of smaller, and it was just for people playing on their feet because of the risk for playing on rollerblades. So they actually started coming up with these leagues. But then a bunch of us that were playing, a bunch of places started playing, everyone on skates, on rollerblades. So we had like a core group. And then the roller hockey rink down the street started opening it up for roller hockey. And so we got our whole guys, we just made a team, got in there and started playing roller hockey. Now we were playing, so this was back in the early days where the people that played ice hockey, during the summer when they didn't have ice, they would play on the old roller skates, the one, the 2 in the front, 2 in the back. We called them 8 tracks. That was the nickname for them. So they would play on the 8 tracks, and they were good, man. These guys were freaking, because they played ice hockey. We never played like any kind of organized ice hockey. Then eventually, after a few years, then we've transitioned our whole team to play ice hockey, because then they started having some leagues out in Southern California where they actually had leagues where you play at different areas like Pasadena and like 4 or 5 different rinks. And then you would be able to play if you sold tickets. You'd play at the Forum after a Kings game. So a few times we'd go and we'd have all our family there, and then after the game, so you'd go under the tunnel and you're getting dressed, and then you see all like the Kings players walking by you, Gretzky and all that. So that's pretty cool. And then you play the game after at the Great Western Forum, or the Forum back then. So.
Do you ever have any? Do you have any of the pros ever just stick around and watch you guys?
No, I don't think so. We wouldn't know anyways because we were playing.
Yeah.
And, you can't really see. I mean, I guess your family would go closer in the seats or whatever. But it was cool because I'd be sitting in the penalty box. I'm like, oh man, I'm sitting here, man. Wayne Gretzky was just in the box here, or McSorley.
He was never in the box.
McSorley
was, I'm sure.
Gretzky would get a tripping penalty here and there.
Every now and then, about as much as Nick Lidstrom ever got.
He didn't have to. But I got a good story that one of the guys on our team that we played for years and years, he looked like MacGyver. Richard Dean Anderson, right?
I knew MacGyver.
Okay. And I remember the first time I met him. This is when we were just playing pickup before we formed the team, and I said, "Oh, dude, you look just like MacGyver." And he's all, "Dude, that's my brother." And like, "Oh yeah, ha, ha, ha." Fast forward, like 4 or 5 years later, we're playing in the playoffs at one of the rinks. MacGyver's in the stand. It was really his brother. I'm playing with his brother the entire time. Yeah, MacGyver's watching our game. Yeah, no.
So wait, he literally told you it's his brother, but like you just laughed about it because
I thought he was joking. Like, okay, really, it's his brother.
And it never and you said it how long before?
Like 4 or 5 years. His brother never went to any of the games,
Yeah, but you would still think like you never noticed his last name or anything.
His name was, I think his name was Jimmy Dean Anderson. I gotta look it up. I think his name was Jimmy. But yeah, he was. Yeah, MacGyver was in the stand with some woman, and I'm like, what? I'm like, you weren't kidding. So yeah. So anyways, yeah, that was a trip. He went to exactly one of our games. So.
But that's awesome that you brought that up to him and he laughs about it. Tells you it's his brother, and then all of a sudden, years later, you're like,
I never thought of it again. I'm like, I thought he was just fucking with me. And then the whole time he looks like him. He looks like him. Then years later, he shows up in the stand. So it was weird. Yeah, it was a trip, dude.
That is awesome. So, do you still play hockey?
I haven't played probably in about 6 years. Probably 6 years. I might play again. I told you I started working out again, and so I think I'm ready to start playing again. So, but I gotta get some new equipment. I think my leg pads and my skates are kind of gone. So
what's more expensive, collecting toys or paying for hockey equipment?
Oh, dude, toys, dude. Toys. You buy a good pair of skates, $350 max. That's a good pair of skates. Your leg pads probably another $100. Your shoulder pads less like $50-$60 maybe, and your underwear with the garters that clip onto the socks. That's probably like $25 or something like that, dude. And so you got that for like years. You don't have to change. Oh, gloves, probably gloves. Good pair of gloves, maybe $100 or something like that. The sticks are now more expensive. Now they're like,
yeah.
They used to be right all wood. And then when I was playing, when I first came in, remember that's when Gretzky came in. He had his Easton. That was his famous metal stick, his aluminum stick. And so you could get the aluminum stick with the blade plug-in. So you're probably looking at like maybe $100 for the stick, and then your blades, whatever you want to get a good blade or whatnot. But now they all make them like one piece, and those can go to like $150 plus. And if somebody breaks your stick, dude, you are pissed. You are pissed. Somebody slashing your stick, you're like, what the fuck? I paid $150 for this.
Dude, I rode a skateboard for 30 minutes and snapped it. So.
Oh shit. but look at, so you're paying, so that your outlay. So say you start, your outlay is probably $700, dude. You spend fucking $700 in a month on toys, dude. Let's be honest, man. Especially if you're collecting multiple lines, right?
I was a couple years ago. I was in the skate park and I was talking to the owner, and I probably spent, maybe $5,000-6,000 in the past year on toys, and I spent a lot of money at the skate shop for a while when I was skating all the time. And I go, it's way more expensive collecting toys.
That's
now,
crazy.
with that said, I've never sprained an ankle collecting. I've never got a swelbo. I've never slammed doing it. It's definitely one of those things where it's like,
well, that's a consideration for sure, because my job, I'm typing nonstop, doing reports, letters, emails nonstop. If I break my hand, dude, what am I gonna do? Right? So that's definitely a consideration. I've never broken a bone playing hockey. I got hit in the face with a slap shot with a hard plastic puck doing roller and fractured my face here. I've ripped my my pec muscle playing ice hockey though. So I got knocked down and I went like kind of Supermaned it. I fell forward and all of a sudden I felt the snap, and like it snapped into my bicep. So now I have, if I flex right now, I have a dent right here. I have a dent in my chest. So I was like, I tried to like, didn't do anything. I went home with my girlfriend at the time. Dude, I got a fever. I thought I was going to fucking die. Dude. And then I finally went to the doctor and they said, well, it's too late now. It's already, your pec's already in your arm. So there's nothing you can do. So.
And probably also got all black and blue.
It didn't really get black and blue.
Really?
I don't remember getting black and blue. Maybe a little bit here. It got maybe a little bit bruised, but it wasn't anything crazy at all. It wasn't crazy at all. But it's just weird that I never knew that was a possibility of you actually your pec ripping off and going into your arm. Like that's nothing you would think.
I hear a lot of times about the bicep doing. Because I remember, because I've listened to people talk about tearing their bicep and how it rolls up, and I remember we were watching The Ultimate Fighter when the guy tears his bicep, and I'm trying to remember who there was two coaches, and the guy that tore his bicep, the coach was just a total dick, always yelling and screaming at him, and he went out and fought on it, and he ends up I believe he ended up losing. Because he couldn't do anything with the arm, and if I remember correctly, the other coach was like, "Dude, he's not right." And then when they got the X-rays, his bicep had just literally just rolled up, but he didn't want to say anything.
That's yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't. There's nothing they can do. It healed as it was, but now, like normally you can't really see anything. But if I flex, then it sucks in.
They didn't do any surgery on it.
No, it's too late because you would have to probably attach it right when it happened.
Well, how long after?
I think I waited like a week.
Oh wow!
Doctor. Yeah.
So I know I've heard Triple H talked about when he tore his quad, and he said it literally just felt like someone unzipped it. Just like unzipped. Oh.
It is a weird feeling, dude. It's a weird. To me, it was like a rubber band, like snapping.
Yes.
And then I was probably in shock. Is probably what was in. I finished playing the game, and I was like, what the fuck's going on? I could tell I was hurt, but it wasn't like excruciating pain. It wasn't like like if you fractured your. I think I feel more pain now working out from my shoulder issues. I feel more pain doing that. It was weird. I just had a fever, really sick, and then it just healed up and just went on with life,
So I have that too, where I thought it was my shoulder, and I thought it was my shoulder that was causing the problem. And I went and saw my doctor, and he's like, "You have tendonitis in your bicep. Why does it hurt my shoulder?" And he said, "Because of how it goes." I'm like, all right, whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he gave me cortisone shot. It helped for a short bit, And then I went out to Baltimore, and I was visiting a friend of mine, and she's a masseuse, and she worked on it. She's like, she's like, I'm trying to figure out why. She's like, I can feel how tight it is. I'm like, how is this my bicep? And she broke out her book, and she's showing me. She's like, here's your shoulder. The bicep goes underneath it. So it's that bicep there. Because I'm like, it hurts when it doesn't really hurt as much anymore. If I did like a bicep pose, it radiated. It hurt to do that. But I would reach to go grab a part in my car, and I just get a shooting pain where I actually like just kind of stop. But I could do bicep curls. It didn't bother me. And she's like, it's because of how you're moving it. And my doctor said the same thing. But once she showed me the book and how the muscle goes up and underneath it, I was like, oh, that actually makes sense. But over time, it started. I can still feel it at times. It's gotten better. I mean, I tell everyone, if I ever wake up and feel 100%, I'm just going to assume I'm dead. Right?
Yeah, you know what? I've always had, probably since the hockey days, because I would work out then too, and I've always had left shoulder issues. And so I would get cortisone shots, but it would get so bad where it would get numb, and I couldn't even drive with my arm on the window. I would have to just hold it like loose on my side, because it would just be throbbing, and then it would get numb, and then it was brutal, dude. So I probably had 3 or 4 cortisone shots.
Tennis and golfer's elbow is some of the most excruciating pain. And I had my boss, this was years ago, get me a Bluetooth. This was before everyone had Bluetooth now. Because I couldn't talk on the phone without, when you sleep with your arm and you bent, and it hurts to move it when you wake up. And then if I did that and I was like that for 20 to 30 seconds, it was an extreme pain. Yeah. And I tried all kinds of stuff. I went to physical therapy, and then finally my doctor's like, here you go.
Did you stop whacking off, dude? That helped?
No, it was actually my left arm. It was my left arm, so I was good there. You would have thought it would have been the other one. And my doctor, I talked to somebody, a personal trainer friend of mine, and he was like, ask them for a cortisone shot. And he goes, tell him you did this, you did that. And I did. I went and talked to my doctor. My doctor was like, all right, here's some information. I'm going to run over. I'm going to see someone else. I'll come back. If you still want to do it after that, I'll do it. He gave me the cortisone shot. He told me, do not call me in a half hour and say it hurts even more, because I'm injecting a bunch of cortisone into one little area. And it hurt for like the next day. And then it started going away. And I had this like on a Wednesday. I only remember it because my son's birthday, his party was on Saturday. And I was talking to my dad, and I go, I can't even remember where it hurt anymore. The pain went away.
Wow.
Now, they've come back. Like, I've had numerous shots. I hope Matthew's not listening. He's probably screaming because he's a doctor. He's like, no. Like, but even the doctor's like, I can't keep doing this. You're just masking the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, you need to, and I've done stuff, and again, like, if I get one every, 4 or 5 years, it doesn't really bother me. But I had gotten in 2 years' time, I think 9 cortisone shots, but not all in one spot. I got it here. I got it. As a matter of fact, I got it here the first time, and what was crazy is that after that, it went away right away. Then I started feeling it on the inside, which is golfer's elbow. This one hurt so bad, I didn't even feel it in here until it was gone. And I was like, holy shit. And then this arm started hurting. I had them done both at the same time. That was the one that hurt the most. It was like an hour later, I'm like, oh my gosh, this hurts so bad. And then,
see, I don't remember it hurting after the cortisone shot. I remember it helps though. Like the doctor did the shot like in the back of the elbow, like back there, and it helped for a while. And then eventually starts coming back, and then you'd have to get another one. But you're right. It's just masking the pain. You're still just grinding the shit out of your shoulder, whatever, because you don't feel it, right? So you're just like, you're just going to town, whatever you're doing.
I guess it all depends on I guess it all depends because it does help because your body is creating cortisone or whatever. But if it hurts in the elbows because there's so little meat there compared to when I got it in the shoulder and I got it in my knee, it didn't hurt nearly as much because there's a little bit more meat in there, especially in the shoulder. That I barely felt at all. But that one, the pain went away for probably 4 days and then it came right back. And I remember Matthew yelling at me about it, going, dude, I'm like, my doctor said you do it once. And he's like, yeah, you can't do it more than, he's like, if it came right back, you need to. And over time, I just kind of,
cut off your arm.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to amputate Larry.
I can't turn a screwdriver.
The doctor's like, Larry, this is so weird. Your right arm, you have an elbow of a 90-year-old. What have you been doing?
Well, I have people. It's funny. I have people now. They'll ask. They're like, "Do you have arthritis?" And I'm like, I've never been told I have arthritis, but I'm assuming if there's a machine that took an X-ray, I would light up. I'm like, I've lifted weights since I was 18 years old. I've skateboarded since I was like 11. Yeah, I'm full of arthritis. There's a reason why when I wake up, I hurt. It's not just being almost 50.
So what made you start lifting weights? What's the origin story for you?
I started lifting because my best friend at the time, who was 3 years older than me, he got into lifting. And when I graduated, I was 5'4", same as I am now, about $115. And I wanted to get toned. And I tell everyone, I go, this is the problem with lifting, is you start getting into lifting weights, and when you get done lifting weights, you look in the mirror and you're pumped up and you say, hey, when I'm this big, I'll be happy. And then when you're that big and you're done working out and you look in the mirror and you go, oh, when I get this big, I'll be happy. Exactly. It is
you get body dysmorphia. You totally do.
Yep.
It's a trip.
And
but it's good for like shorter. Like if you're shorter, it's easier for you to look bigger because you have a more compact frame. So when you lift I'm like 5'11", and I grew between the summer of 9th grade to 10th grade. I grew from I think I was probably 5'1", 5'2" to 5'11". So now I'm 5'11", and I'm 130 pounds. So I'm like a stick boy. Right. And so then I was always skinny, and then when I was around, I want to say 20, 22, I liked this chick, but then she didn't really like me. I'm gonna show her, right? So then I started working out, dude. I took so much weight gainer, dude. I was downing that nonstop calories just trying to put on weight, and eventually it worked, But yeah, I was bone skinny. So that was my origin story.
I was super thin, and luckily when I started working out, the one thing that Brandon said to me, he said, and again, I only went to the gym with him at first because you're still, when you start doing it, it's very intimidating when you're not with somebody. And he'd always say, hey, if you're ever here without me and you have a question, ask a big guy. And I went, why? They're just going to make fun of you. And he was like, no, dude. He goes, those people have so much knowledge and they're happy to pass it on. And he's absolutely right, because you ask a big guy, hey, I'm wondering about this. It's like they get a glimmer in their eye. They are so happy to pass on that knowledge. I'm the same way with skateboarding, man. I see a young kid, I'm like, hey, can I help you? And they're like, oh, yeah. What? And you get this glimmer in your eye because I have all this knowledge. Listen, I'm never going to be a professional skater. I'm never going to make money off skateboarding. But if I can help some kid and there was a kid that I a few years ago, boom, I'm like, he's trying to ollie up this little mani pad, and he's the worst skateboarder ever. And I'm like, why don't you try my board? I could tell he had the ability. And after about 4 or 5 tries, he nails it. And he's like super excited, and he's like, "Oh," I'm like, "You can keep riding. I'm done." I'm like, and he was all, "What if I break your board?" I'm like, "You ain't gonna break my board. And if you do, I'm the one that told you to ride it. I don't care." And he did it. And I kind of told him where to get a good skateboard. About a year and a half later, I go to that same little skate park, and he's there. He comes running up to me, and he's like, he's like, "Dude, I have been looking for you for so long. I just want to say thank you. I got a board." And then I've seen him a bunch of times since then. And then I'm on the Instagram page of the skate park that I would go to, and he works for them now. And they're like, "Hey,
Oh,
we
that's
want to
cool.
give a big happy birthday." And I saw him at the skate park a few weeks ago, and I was talking to another guy that I know. I'm like, "Dude, like this kid's like my son, man. I'm the reason why he's here." And he's like, "Yeah, dude." And they're like, the guy's like, "Dude, this is the guy you were talking about." He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, and to me that like seeing
They're
how
all, hey,
excited he was.
Is that the old dude the old man you're talking about?
Is that the creep you were talking about?
So you're going by the skate park in a van with a slider open, trying to give advice to kids.
Free skateboards.
Kid, come here. You want to try this board? You want some stickers?
It's you know what's funny is that the skate park is the only place you can be 50 years old and say, "Yeah, I was at the park talking to like a 13-year-old." That no one's gonna go, "You're a creep." Like if you said, "Hey, oh yeah, I was at the park and I was talking to a 13-year-old," everyone's gonna be like, "Whoa, what?" But if you're like, "Yeah, dude, I was at the skate park and I was talking to this like 13-year-old," everyone's like, "Oh, that's really cool." It's like the only place you can do it and not be like creepy.
Yeah, you're all, "Yeah, I had a new raincoat I was trying to show the kids." I wanted to show everybody this new raincoat I had. They're calling the police on your ass, dude.
Yeah, well, I try not to do that stuff for sure. All right, so when you get back into collecting toys or collecting anything, and is it before or after you meet your I was about to say your current wife. I meant your wife.
My wife, yeah. No, I'd never been married before. But all right, so let me think about this. So I had definitely met her, and I did collect. Okay, so I did collect some. God, what were those called? They would have those sports for the different sports. They had figures that were like in an action pose, and they had a
starting lineup.
They had a starting lineup, yeah. So I collected those hockey ones. So this is back in the time with Solani and that'll give you a time frame. Sergei Fedorov, right?
No, I know exactly what.
You know who Fedorov is?
I know. Hey, the Detroit Red Wings are finally going to retire his number.
Really? What took so long, man?
Because the reason why his number is not retired, and it is the stupidest thing, is because the Illiches offered him money to stay, like a 4-year contract. He didn't want to stay in Steve Yzerman's shadow, so he left.
What was it? 91, right? 91.
What number was he?
Yeah,
he's not 91.
91. Okay.
So yeah, so he turned down their offer. He went to play for the Mighty Ducks. He never achieved any like the success that he had. He won 3 Stanley Cups here. He never badmouthed the city. He never badmouthed the team. He never badmouthed the organization. He just didn't want to. And the Illiches took it super personally. And all these other, again, Lidstrom, Yzerman, they all deserve to have it. Fedorov deserved to have it retired a long time ago. The trainer for the Detroit Red Wings refused to ever hand out that number to anyone else. So, like, if someone came in and said they wanted 91, he'd be like, "You can't have it." Yeah. And there was no one that was going to argue. I mean, they're like, "It's going to be retired," and they finally announced that they're going to do it.
That's awesome.
Because the old man finally died, but he's been dead for a while.
So are you a hockey fan or no? Because I know you like.
Oh, I mean, I don't watch it so much right now. I listen to a lot of sports radio, but but I don't watch a lot of sports, not like I used to. And everything else kind of took over.
Yeah.
I need to watch it more. I do miss hockey because hockey, man, I love football. Hockey is just special to watch.
Yeah, so I so I used to be a Kings fan, obviously, right? That was the only team in town when Gretzky came over. But then then the Mighty Ducks came, and then I had a buddy that I worked with, and he was new to hockey, and he was a Mighty Ducks fan. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go to a game with.
Oh, is he a Mighty Ducks fan because of the movies?
No, he liked hockey, you know.
Okay.
But he was a new hockey fan. He was probably like 3-4 years younger than me. Probably 3 years younger than me. And so he's not a fan of the movies or anything because we're too old for the Mighty Ducks movies. But I went to a game.
As you're a toy collector, but you're too old for the Mighty Ducks.
That's
movie.
right, dude. I'm not a nerd. Come on, man. What do you think I am, dude? Yeah, seriously, right? No, but I went to a game, and so this is Orange County, right? And so it was just filled with like yuppie parents that know nothing about hockey, taking their kids that like the movie. And so the kids really don't know about hockey. The parents don't know anything about hockey, and they're just blowing those freaking duck quackers nonstop throughout the game. And I'm like, dude, I can't handle this, man. So then it got to the point where they changed from the Mighty Ducks to the Ducks. They changed their jerseys, right? So there's no more, Wild Wing duck on the jersey. And that got to a point where the Kings, they just would not put out a good team. They would not go out and buy players or anything. The best player they had was Ziggy Palffy, and I think they got Allison, but I don't think they played together. But anyways, it died down when there was just only Coffey left on the team as the major star, and that guy was trying to do everything himself. He tried, but the team just sucked. So I would go to the opening night because I had a buddy that had season tickets to the Kings, and I'm telling you, it was a good 4 or 5 years when you go to opening night, they announce all the players, right? And it was like, and number nobody. There was like nobody on the team for like all these years, and then that was the time when the Ducks were actually like starting to get players, pay to get players. They got Solani, they got Niedermeyer. They went out and got Pronger too. That. So right around that time, I became a Ducks fan with my friend, and then hated the Kings after that. So
you have no idea how annoying the Ducks were, the Mighty Ducks, when in '97, when the Wings won the first Stanley Cup, and they swept the Ducks. But I think they went to 3 overtimes, one being 3 overtime. And now, mind you, you guys are 3 hours ahead of us, or 3 hours behind us.
Yeah.
And you go through. You're going to bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
Because now you've invested, and you have to stay up. And it's like a one. Like they win 1-0. That was a crazy series. I believe that 3 of the 4 games were overtime. One was a short overtime. The other 2 were. One was like 2-2, and then I think one was either 3 or 4 overtimes. And I was like, man, it's long.
Yeah. Around that time when the Ducks started getting good, the Detroit Red Wings were the number 1 enemy for sure, because they would always beat the Ducks or make it really, really hard. And if you go to a game, that's the weird thing about like LA, Orange County. If you go to a home game for like the Ducks or Kings, everything's fine except if you go for Detroit's playing, New York's playing, or Chicago is playing. Dude, you got half the stadium that is the other team.
So many transplants.
Yep. Oh, Boston too. Boston, not as much as Chicago and Detroit and New York, but yeah. And even we had watch parties too. You go to like a place where they had an official watch party. You have half the people there were Detroit fans, and you'd be like, you want to get in fights with them, dude.
Yeah, but you're talking about the original 6 too. You know.
Yeah.
Viper Scout says, I remember Emilio Estevez throwing shade at the Blackhawks circa 2010, and the fans having to remind him his character was Hawk first.
That's funny.
All right, so we totally got off here. So did you meet your wife before you got back into collecting or after?
Oh yeah, before.
Okay, so
Yeah, because you know what, I don't think she would want to date a collector. That's pretty nerdy, right?
well, that's one of the things I wanted to ask people on this show, how do you break this to them? Because I know some people are like, again, I've dated girls and they're like, oh, I think it's really cool that you collect toys, and I'm like, no, I mean I collect toys, and like, yeah, I know it's really cool. And then they walk in and they're like, oh, you collect. I'm like, yeah, I was very honest with you about it. I didn't pull any punches.
They probably look at you like you're a serial killer, right? And they look at you like, oh my god, this guy is gonna murder me and put me in a bag.
They walk in and they see and they're like, you've actually had sex, that you have kids. I'm like, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so you know, when I met my wife, I wasn't into collecting at all. I was living with some roommates by the beach.
How long ago did you meet your wife?
Oh man, 17, 18 years ago.
Okay.
I hope she's not watching. I wouldn't be able to tell you how many years we've been married, but I'm going by my oldest daughter's age, and probably met like a year before that, year and a half before. Well, before she got pregnant, probably then. So it's probably like 18 years, probably around that time. And so, like I said, I was collecting that starting lineup, but you know, it wasn't like really that into it. I just put it in the closet.
Yeah, those were things that, like, if you're a sports fan, you'd get it and you'd have it on your desk at work, or around, not around your house, but on your computer desk and stuff.
Yeah.
And most of it was like, again, oh, I have a Barry Bonds or whatever. Like it was almost always of a team that you liked, the team that you supported.
Yeah.
Like for the Lions, there'd be Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
It literally ended right there. Barry Sanders.
That's it. Yeah. So action figure wise, though, it was during. It had to have been. When did the prequel? It might have been. No, it wasn't in the prequels. I got some prequel 3 3/4 figures that were on card, but I don't know if they were. I don't know if it couldn't have been when the movie was out. It had to have been sometime after that. So it had to have been
99, I believe.
No, so no, this had to have been. I'm trying to think, 2000, and it was probably like around 2011 is when I bought them. I don't know if somewhere online had them online, and I thought, oh yeah, these are cool. So I bought a bunch of those, but I really didn't start collecting until was it the Force Awakens? Is that's the first one, right, from the
unfortunately
sequel trilogy?
Yeah. That's when it all went downhill.
But that one wasn't as bad as
you're right.
Last Jedi. Last Jedi is unwatchable. I've tried to watch it again, dude. It is unwatchable. It is horrible.
Rise of Skywalker is just as bad.
No, not as bad as that. No way, dude.
I'm right now. We're arguing semantics. Neither one of them should have been made. How about that?
I mean, it was so.
Can we all just agree on that?
It was so disjointed. The whole series, the whole sequels. But Disney, the Disney store. I walk in because we would always go. When we go to the mall, we'd always have the Disney store. Just look for stuff with the kids, And they had the 7-inch die-cast metal figures, and so I'm like, I picked a couple up. I'm like, oh my god, that's really cool. So I started buying them, and then I started collecting all of them, and then right around that sometime after that, then my wife said, "Oh, there's some black stickers." I would never go to the toy aisle. I had not gone to the toy aisles probably since I was a kid. Between that time and when I started collecting again, and I saw some Black Series figures. I'm like, I don't know. I don't really like them because they're plastic. Because for some reason I like the metal figures. And then, I found out that they had the vintage collection figures. You know, they weren't making them then, but you know they had already come out. I saw somebody's video on it. I think Only One Kenobi, and he was showing them like, oh my god, these are just like when I was a kid, right? So I saw them like, oh, these are cool, but then I looked online, and you know, a lot of them were super expensive, but most of them had the offer sticker on them, which covered up the picture, and I was like, I don't know, man, it's kind of lame. And then I saw a video where somebody showed you how you could take off the sticker without damaging the card. So once that happened, I started ordering some on eBay, started taking off the stickers, dude. I went full on board with the vintage collection, and I was on eBay bidding on shit. So I have so many of that vintage collection that the vintage collection went from, I want to say 08 to 2012, and so there were like 105 figures on that run, and then 2018 they brought it back, and so I started collecting every one, and I've been collecting everything since then.
All right, so you're collecting Star Wars.
Yep.
Now, first off, you met your wife, you said about 18 years ago, whatever. How many kids do you have?
I got 2 and a stepson.
Okay, so let me ask you this, and we're gonna get more. We're gonna get back into the whole collecting. Do you find it harder as a collecting parent to have kids? Because I always say collectors shouldn't have kids because we think they have to have everything, even when they don't care.
Yeah, it's and that is so,
it's a sickness, man. It is a sickness.
You know, I should have known, because even before I started collecting, when the kids were babies, they had like different they had these one little cars with little figures in them, and my wife and I would go buy them, and I'm telling you, we probably buying them more than they did, because we're like, oh my god, there's a new one, and we'd go out there, collect all the new ones, and if they like lost one of the things, oh, you're losing the you know, you're a kid, they're just playing with them, right? And we're like,
exactly,
we're like a bunch of psycho jackasses not wanting to lose it. You know, what were the other ones? Oh god, there were some like other like dolls, and my wife was like into getting every single one of them for them, like Monster High.
So your wife doesn't help anything out, it sounds like.
No, well, you know, she gets mad because I collect a lot, so she gets pissed off because like, where are you gonna put it? There's no room for this. You're collecting too much shit.
That is future problem.
Yeah, but she collects some things. She collects, like, she was collecting some of the old like Rainbow Bright and Strawberry Shortcake dolls, and so she has a collector addiction in herself too, because she used to collect like Cabbage Patch Kids. I mean, I think she sold them all before I met her, but and you know, Strawberry Shortcake and all those things, and then now she's collecting those fucking Labubu things, dude. Like going crazy, dude. You know, you've seen those Labubus, right?
I know the name. I don't know if I've seen them though.
They're like little stuffed animal dolls with like weird, scary faces, and like, dude, okay. I can't believe even heard of them, dude. People are going crazy for them, crazy. So anyway, she's just like she's going ham on those. So I can't say anything. What am I gonna say? Like, I got fucking one of everything, 2 of everything, right? So I can't say anything. Like, you're spending all my G.I. Joe money.
All right, so you're collecting Star Wars, and then you briefly talked about how you saw some of the classified. Now, were you collecting any G.I. Joe to begin with?
No.
Or were you only collecting Star Wars?
Only Star Wars.
Okay.
Which so I kicked myself, because I went into a hobby, like a comic book toy store, and I remember seeing the G.I. Joe, was it 25th or whatever, figures on the pegs. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, man. I used to collect these, but I never bought any. And then like later on, I'm like, fuck, I should have got those, because I had I ended up buying some. I could find here and there, or trading with people that had some. Because I'm like, oh, dude, I love these, but
I look back to, I wasn't buying a lot of stuff, especially when I was with my ex. We didn't have a lot of money, but I'd stop in at Toys R Us and they had all those 25th anniversary figures. And I look back now and I'm like, why didn't I just buy them all? My ex and I aren't even together anymore, so it didn't matter how much fucking money I spent.
Yeah. I wish, man. I picked up some at like the SoCal Joe show and things like that, but they're expensive. Some of them. So what can you do?
So you get into GI Joe along with all of this. Now, do you have all the classified?
Everyone, yeah.
Okay. And what about for Star Wars? How do you
and loose and in box?
Okay, so you're at least 2 of each.
Yep.
And I know you get more of some.
Builders, yeah. Yeah. I probably have like 20 something bats. Probably at least 20 Crimson Guard. And troopers too, at least, and Vipers, at least 20 each.
And how do you display them?
In a box, dude. They're in a storage bin. Most of them. I can only put a few out. I have them on step risers, but just one of each. So I'm trying to I'm gonna put some more shelves up so I can put some more stuff up, but I don't even like my Star Wars like Black Series. I have so much like 6-inch stuff loose. I used to collect them all in box, and I would have some cool ones that I would open, but they got too much. Then I just sold off my doubles and then opened everything for Black Series. So now I just collect Black Series open. Now I'm more choosy. I don't collect everything Black Series anymore like I used to. I used to be getting everything, but
it seems very hard. And again, I go over the Black Series stuff and Star Wars stuff, but I couldn't imagine trying to be a completionist with Black Series or Marvel Legends. It'd be almost impossible. It's getting almost impossible with G.I. Joe.
So Black Series, though, they over the last probably like 4 years, they just do so many just reissues and repaints.
That's why
I think it's easier not to collect them all on that line.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you were going to collect them all, it'd be really hard because how many reissues are there or repaints of something where you're just like, like you can repaint again when you repaint some of the GI Joes. Some of them are army builders, so it doesn't really matter. Or you make like a different character. With Star Wars, it's kind of like you didn't really change anything.
Yeah, it's hard because with G.I. Joe, you could have the different teams, right? So at Night Force, so you're doing a repaint of the same figure, but they're painting a little different. I mean, Star Wars, what you do? They got a Jedi robe. You're not gonna paint the Jedi robe purple, or you're not gonna put tiger stripes on Vader's cape.
Right? That's cool.
So
Tiger Force Vader.
Yeah.
Python Patrol Emperor.
Yeah, so I don't think I think that's kind of the problem with Star Wars that they have is that they really can't do that, and make it look fresh and new that somebody wants. And they're so unique, like you have Hammerhead, like what are you gonna do with Hammerhead, like I guess at least now they've started putting there's Hammerhead, Daka Ondar at Galaxy's Edge, so they made a figure of him, so I guess you can do that, or the Mandalorian put that mayor out, right? So
but it is one of those things that it's something that a lot of other collectors, YouTube personalities, Instagram personalities either don't get or don't want to understand. But it's like there are new collectors coming in all the time, so not everyone had a Hammerhead from 3 years ago, so they re-release it. I mean, or Luke Skywalker, like again, Luke, Vader, Leia, Han, they should always be on pegs. I'm sorry, they are the main characters. He-Man, Skeletor, like they should always be around in some iteration.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think what it was. There was one line that I was like interested. I'm like, oh man, I would get it, but the what's the new 3 3/4 ones that are of GI Joe from Japan. What were those the new ones that came? They started making
The Haya?
whatever that. Yeah, the Haya toys.
Those are
So,
like 4.1 inches or 4.2 inches.
what?
Yeah.
They're that big?
Yep.
Oh. Anyways, I
They're-
had
So
I had
so
thought
so
about
they're actually a little bit taller than the modern 4-inch figures.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, I had thought about like getting into that line, but I already couldn't get Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, right? So I'm like, why am I gonna collect? I'm gonna have a huge hole in my collection right off the bat.
Especially off
Right.
those two.
Yeah, and exactly.
And man, I wish I would have just ordered like 10 each of those now. Because they jumped up in price like crazy.
Well, it's weird why they never really got a United States distributor for those, right?
I think that again, from at least from what it looks like, I believe Hasbro was trying to be in talks. Either they were going to re-release 4-inch, they didn't want the competition, or they were talking with someone else. I don't think that it was Super 7 because Super 7 is solely doing O-rings,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make any sense. You've given some of the license. You don't have a problem with, Mezco doing 6-inch, figures. So what does it matter? And for the most part, almost every single one of those figures is just Lenny's design put into a 4-inch figure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're just copying it. Now that I think about it, I'm probably good that I didn't because I have nowhere to put them anyways. But I was thinking about it, and that actually was a reason. I was like, because they started coming out with the other figures where you could actually get, and I was like, but why would I get it if I can't get the Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow?
So what do you collect?
So, classified, obviously.
Yep.
Star Wars Vintage Collection. So I get it, but I don't open those. I keep everything on card for Star Wars Vintage Collection, and in box, for like the ships and whatever.
In bin.
Yeah. Mostly. The Black Series collect open. But like I said, I slowed down a lot on that. I'm thinking I'm going more towards the original trilogy figures on those. I totally stopped getting any of the gaming grades on those, and passed on some of the other ones where I'm like, but so that and Motu. I have I collect Masterverse, but
okay.
But that's like my discount line, right? So I just get the stuff if it goes on. If you
like discount. It and you see it for $4, you're like, I'll buy it.
Yeah, if they go on sale. I bought a few of them, like like Frank and Sons, like Grizzler and Buzz Off, because I never saw those in store, and those are kind of like some main ones. And I got what's the elephant guy? I got them from on Mattel.
I know who it is. I just
God, I'm trying to blank on his name. Trunk,
Trunkosaurus.
No, yeah. and Panther I got on because I have the other one from He-Man, so I collect that. But like I said, just on discount. That's it. I mean, that's enough, man. You don't realize like how much shit you have. Like when you think about like where
Snout
G.I.
Spout.
Joe started. Oh, Snout Spout. Thank you.
I would. You know what? Even though I know the name, I was never gonna get that.
Yeah, and and honestly, most of the main ones already came out in Masterverse, and now they're just doing like the new versions of New Eternia,
but they look so much better now. Like,
oh yeah,
like they have truly adapted, and you're like, God, they look so much better. And I'm glad I got out of that.
Well, that's the reason I like Classified, and why I like the 25th anniversary G.I. Joe and the vintage collections. I like the modern sculpt, I like to make it look realistic. I don't want it to look like, the old O-ring with like freaking warped, ugly ass faces, and you know what I mean. So,
which looked good back in the day. Like that's,
I mean, you didn't care back then, right?
and I've had people make comments on my classic reviews talking about how awful they look, and I'm like, dude, this is 1985, 86. Like, this is what stuff looked like. They looked
You didn't know any
amazing
better
for back then.
Yeah, you didn't know any better.
Yeah.
That was the best that could be then, you know. You were happy for it, man.
And that is one of the reasons why I really do like the Star Wars retro, because if you collected that, they're giving you new figures for the new movies, new TV shows that fit in with that.
I got all the retro collection figures too.
But I look at G.I. Joe, where it's like Star Wars there was no evolution with the Star Wars figures, right? They were all the same. So you want them to look the same. Where when you look at the G.I. Joe O-rings, they started with straight arm. Then they got the swivel arm battle grip. And then you had the ball joint head, right? So there's always been an evolution. So I have no problem with seeing new O-ring figures that look nice.
Yeah.
You know, you still have the same aesthetic. But you're right. I don't need something that looks super ugly.
Yeah, that's why I love Classified. It's just something about it gives you the nostalgia, but it's something new.
Yeah,
you know, because it's so modern looking, and so now you don't feel like such a kid because like, oh, it looks realistic, man. I'm a man.
So, have you dipped into Operation Monster Force or anything?
No, man. I just can't. I can't start. You know, I are they the ones that have the red? Oh God, like the old Skeletron figures. Which one's that?
That's the Eraser, the Joe Fest Eraser.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know,
they're so good, dude. They're so good.
Yeah, just I don't know. They don't really do much for me.
Because you don't have one in hand.
Yeah, but I had some of the first Valaverse figures.
Yep.
And, like the Bone Collector, you know, and the both Sergeant Slaughters and the British Forces guy. And they're good figures. They're great figures. But to me, it just seemed like the figures that were coming out, it just kind of like was repaints of the steel core or whatever, steel core.
So Stark Roads here says Star Wars 5POA evolved quite a bit. Power of the Force sculpt are way more detailed than the 78s. They may have got a little bit more detail, but they're really, I mean, there wasn't that much.
I wasn't collecting that.
I'm assuming you're not talking about the Power of the Force 95 because that's a whole different. But yeah, everything's going to get a little bit better, but they didn't start giving them like elbows that bent or knees that bent or even waist that swiveled, right? And so that's what I'm saying, like giving you like, whether you like it or not, Obi-Wan Kenobi from the TV show and, you know, that type of stuff. Like they make it so that fits in nice and smoothly. But G.I. Joe was always evolving.
Yeah, some of the Return of the Jedi figures were getting a little bit better with the better capes and the faces looked a little bit better. But you're right, there was no involvement of the articulation and the hands or anything like that. So I don't know.
So this is not true, Stark Roads. Only the first like three or four series were on steroids. Then they started testing. And everyone had to go natty.
Yeah. Those were horrible, dude. Horrible.
Oh, they're so awesome. Don't you say that.
Horrible. Lucky I wasn't collecting that, dude.
Look at this. Look at that.
Force. Yeah.
Darth Vader needs muscles because he's more machine now than man.
But yeah,
he's more roid now than man.
But they were trying to compete with He-Man, right? Is that when they started doing it?
I don't know what the reason for. I've heard people have, mentioned different things for Power of the Force. That was 95, so He-Man was long gone. So I don't know, but I remember laughing. Yes, Darth Swole. I remember laughing because the guy that got me into lifting weights, he was a huge Star Wars fan. I can remember him showing up at my house. I was living with my dad, and had Han Solo and Chewbacca in hand, and we started going everywhere looking for stuff. And the only thing that we could find was Han Solo and Chewbacca and the Millennium Falcon, which was like $50 at the time. And it took us quite some time to find some of the other figures. So I'm trying to think of what the first wave was. Because the first wave was Vader, Stormtrooper, Leia, Swole Luke, Chewie, and Han. And you had an X-Wing TIE Fighter and the Millennium Falcon. Yes, and that is still probably the worst Princess Leia ever known to mankind. She looks like a monkey. Oh my god, that is so bad. And she can't stand up.
So I was in college when, I guess, Power of the Force was out, right?
Yeah. So I just graduated, 95. I graduated in 94, so.
Oh, shit. I graduated college already.
Wow. You are old. So basically the only lines that you're collecting are Star Wars, G.I. Joe, and Masterverse, but on sale mostly.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, I got some Marvel, but I like the Marvel movie characters. So I got when they came out with those what was it called?
Eternal?
No, yeah, right.
You still get them.
You know what I did buy the Eternal figures because they were at the Disney store on sale for like $1 or $2 each. Just because I wanted to do the Build-A-Figure. Yeah. Because I've never done a Build-A-Figure before. I'm like, oh, dude, I want to do that. So I just bought it just for that, just to put the figure again. Then I used the heads to put on different X-Wing pilots and.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, so I just used some head swaps. But no, there was a line with the Avengers. So they had like the movie Thor and. Captain America and Iron Man and stuff like that. So I got those. So I have probably 5 or 6 of those figures with Black Widow, and I don't have Spider-Man. I have Spider-Man on there too. I got the Ghost Rider with that motorcycle that was a Target exclusive. It was weird because I went to Target and it was like in the. And this is when it first came out. It was weird. It was in like a shopping cart with returns, and then I scanned it, and it was on sale for like $30 or something like that. And I had like some kind of like $20 credit. I'm like, oh, dude, I'll get it. It looks cool. So I have it. I have to have it on my shelf. It's an awesome figure and motorcycle. But that's about it. You know, I just can't. Even when I see them at Ross, I don't pick them up because they're mostly like the Marvel comic book characters, right?
So as much as you collect, you really don't collect a lot.
Yeah, not a lot.
You buy a lot, but you don't collect a lot.
Not a lot of different things.
Like I collect a lot.
I know you. I see some of the shit you collect. I'm like, why are you collecting that? Why did you buy that? That is lame.
Because it looks awesome. I don't have anything lame. Look at this. Like, look how awesome that is right there. Look at that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I buy a lot of shit, and again, I buy stuff that I like. That's the crazy thing. So when I want to try and when I'm like, I should just get rid of this, I should sell it. I look at it, I'm like, I bought this because I like it, and now you're holding it in hand again. And you're like, I don't want to get rid of this. All the gargoyles and shit. Like, I'm so pissed that they just kind of killed that line.
So you collect what's that other one where they with the 4 Horsemen? What lines are those?
Mythic Legions.
Oh, Mythic Legions.
But I'm not all in on that. I see a figure that I like, and I everyone said like once you get one, you're going to be all in. Right. I was never like that. There's certain things that I see, I like. I think I can do some pictures with it. It will go good with a dial. So I mean, I like it. What's actually kind of weird when it comes to like the Mythic Legions. I prefer the knights and stuff like that over the mythical creatures. And I think most people are the exact opposite. Like I look at the knights and I'm like, I think they look awesome.
Oh, you know what I do? I forgot that I collect also, but I haven't really collected of late. Is the Bandai Star Wars movie realization, like the samurai looking ones.
Oh yeah,
I have a lot of them, but then I kind of petered out on those. But I just got the Obi-Wan in April, the Obi-Wan character. But yeah, those are awesome. I love samurais, so if they come out with a line of samurais, dude, I'm all over that. I'll collect that. There's one. There's a company that's coming out with them. They haven't put them out yet.
It's the AWA. It's a company that is
the ones made guy. Yeah,
I forget the name of it. I'm sure Matthew will tell us, and they look amazing. But
awesome.
I mean, we saw them. We saw the preview, or we saw the builds of them at PowerCon, which was over 2 years ago now. So I don't. Again, like that's one of those. Like, are you guys doing it or what?
Yeah,
I think they're going to be awesome.
Bushido. Yeah, so I'm Bushido. So I'm gonna be all over that if they come out with them for sure.
And they make great figures. Like all those AWalk figures are awesome.
Do you collect those or no?
I have a few.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a few because like I ordered like 3 when they first I ordered 3 after people started like getting them, and I'm like I just want to review them and see if they're that good because no one had anything bad to say about it. And it's one of the few figures I can say I didn't have any complaints on it. I mean, it is a toy that if you handed it to your kid, it's not coming back broken in like 10 minutes. They're nice and solid, big, thick figures. They stand up. I got a few, and there's a few more that I'm waiting for some next waves. And everyone liked them.
It's dangerous now because we're like at the age where we have disposable income and there's so many toys you can buy, right? There's so much stuff out there. And then you got the nostalgic stuff and you got it where it's where, small companies can make their own stuff too. And they're making awesome stuff also. So
it's kind of funny because G.I. Joe is obviously the majority of my collection. But if G.I. Joe went away, there's like, hey, you know what, we're done with classified? I would probably be more into Mythic Legions and like fantasy stuff over other military lines. Like I don't collect Valiverse. I won't. I think I've made my stance on that. I really like the Operation Monster Force. I like all the stuff Fresh Monkey Fiction is doing. But there's something about the fantasy that intrigues me. But because I'm all into G.I. Joe, and to be honest, I guess I've really started liking more of the Marvel Legends, and I'm kind of doing what Tony did, where he was like, when it came to the McFarlane DC, I just want the original 7. I was like, yeah, that's how it starts. And I was kind of like, I just want to pick and choose some Marvel Legends. And next thing I know, here I'm like, I really need a fucking Storm. I don't have Storm. But I don't think I need multiples of a lot of them. That is one thing I think I can kind of say. Matthew says, F Marvel Legends.
Why does he like Marvel?
I have no idea. I know he buys some of this, dude. I know he buys it.
You know what I do want? I do want like a 6-inch DC line like they do with Marvel Legends. I would love to get like a equal Batman, Robin, the Justice League, because I grew up on the Justice League cartoons, man. I love that, dude.
I think when Mattel takes over, they would be smart to go 6-inch, because if they go 7-inch, like the Masterverse, there may be people that are like, well, I already have the McFarlanes, I don't need it.
Yep.
But if you go 6-inch, you're going to force the people that have been collecting, McFarlane to start buying that stuff. And you might get a lot of these Marvel Legends people that are just like, I can have Batman teaming up with Captain America, and I don't have to spend $120 like on a Mezco.
Yeah.
So
No.
I
I think you're right. That's exactly. I think people would be like, oh yeah, you get some decently priced DC figures matching with your Marvel, right? So.
Oh, dude, I think it's the ideal thing. Or they go, hey, we already have the idea. They can fit with the Master of the Universe. Now that's not a line that you wanted to match.
Yeah, you're not gonna mix He-Man with your DC.
No, you're not. But if that's what your scale already is, you may want to keep it. I just don't think it's a smart thing. I think because everyone has looked at McFarlane going, why? That's not what we don't want that. We want that to be in 6-inch form.
I bought a couple McFarlane figures, some Batman figures were at Ross, and the articulation, man, is ass on this. And they suck, dude. They suck. Chaz, who is your favorite Joe and Cobra? Favorite Joe, probably Snake Eyes. That's a lame answer, but it probably is. Cobra. Oh man, I'm trying to think about when I was a kid who my favorite was. It was probably Storm Shadow or Serpentor.
But Storm Shadow's a G.I. Joe, so.
Wow, I don't even remember it being a G.I. Joe. I don't remember that.
He's been a Joe longer than a Cobra.
See, I don't remember that. See, when I collected, he was the arch enemy. So.
Well, again, I hate the question of who's your favorite Joe, because the easy answer is Snake Eyes, but it's kind of like the easy answer of like who's your favorite Marvel character, and someone says Wolverine. It's hard to get mad at someone because it's like, oh, you mean the badass?
Yeah, that's the best character.
That's angry with fucking claws and a healing factor. Like, you look at Snake Eyes and it's like, oh, a guy who doesn't talk, which I guess isn't really good for someone who does YouTube and does 4 hours on a Monday. but he's a ninja. He carries a gun. He has throwing or Storm Shadow. It seems like a boring answer, but makes sense.
Probably after Snake Eyes, probably Snow Job. I think that was probably the most I played as a kid.
Even as a California kid.
Yeah. Yeah, and I even backed the Snowcat, even though I'm not around snow.
All right. So we see all the things you do. You don't really collect a lot of lines. You collect a lot of stuff. But you buy a lot of the same figures. But we got to ask this. Because you do it better than anyone. And I feel like I've had some pretty good memes. Mr. Popinski, he's had a bunch of really good ones. We've seen a lot of good memes, but you by far have the best.
Oh, thank you.
And I've told you 100 times before, like,
beating the dead horse.
No one can beat a dead horse more than you.
Right.
But every time you're doing it, I'm like, did you have me hook, line, and sinker?
Well, because if something's funny, and I think, God, like I said before, it's like whatever the zeitgeist is a lot of times, I may not even feel that way, but I see like people complaining and talking shit online on the Facebook groups. And so something just comes in my head of like what to make fun of, something like that. But then like a bunch of different ideas will come in. So I'm like, I'll just make a bunch of I'll beat that dead horse, dude. I'll beat that dead horse.
And I'm glad you said that, because I mean, how many times have I told you, or I'm like, no one beats a dead horse like you. And normally when someone's saying that to you, they're not saying it in a positive way. The other thing that I love about so many of your memes is like, you're not perfecting them.
No.
Like, again, the one that I used for the cover, right? Or for the thumbnail with Dr. Evil. Like, it's not great. Like, the hand is all messed up.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes I'll do it and I go, oh man, I fucked it up. And I go, oh, whatever, man. I'll just leave it in there. It's the idea. They get the idea. They get the.
And that's how I feel about my a lot of my reviews that I do. Like I've talked to Toy Connections, Ken, and he's like, you can just take that out. I'm like, I don't care. Like I don't, that's what people have kind of come to expect from seeing like the reviews and stuff that I do. But how do you come up with them so quickly? Because you have them out faster than anyone. Like what is going through your mind and how are you doing it?
So
like does your work does your work schedule allow you to do these things? Because they come.
Oh yeah. So I can I work from home, so I can unless I'm like really like in a meeting or like actually like in a court meeting or something like that, then yeah, I can just pop. I'll go on my phone and I take little mental breaks. I look to see what's going on, and then I'll sit there and just make a meme, man. I'll just do it right then. So, but it was like my family and my friends were always bag on each other. And it was like Eye of the Tiger from Rocky, dude. You had to be sharp or you would just get eaten up. So yep. I think I honed my skills from just, talking shit to people, just nonstop. And so things will come in my brain, and a lot of times no filter, and I'll just, say something, because I go for the laugh, so if I hurt somebody's feelings, it kind of sucks. I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should have said that. But something comes in my head, I just think it's funny, so I'll just say it. So a lot of times it's to entertain myself too, because I just think it's funny. So I'll just say it, or if it's a meme, I'll just meme it, So, and the key to a meme, key to a good meme, is number one, it has to be something recognizable where somebody looks at the picture and they get it right away.
Yep.
And the writing, what you're gonna write, it just has to be short and succinct. Because you'll get some people put memes, I'll be like a fucking paragraph novel at the top, and you're reading like, by that time it's not funny. This has to be short and sweet. Just boom, you read it, boom, you see the picture. There, you think it's funny or you don't think it's funny. Though.
Very much like in doing an Instagram story that you want someone to come watch your YouTube show, or you're like, if you write too much, like people get bored and they stop reading it.
Yep.
You want something short and sweet. And again, I'm probably the wrong person, but I know exactly what you mean. And the craziest thing about a lot of these memes, because I've done them too, when you write out too much, you can see it when you're done. You're like, that's way too much.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. I've done that before. I'm like, oh, how can I shorten this? It's too wordy. How can I shorten it, get the same point across, but fewer words? So you're just reading that, and that's it. Just short and sweet, man. Short and sweet. A picture that somebody just recognizes right away, and they get it. You don't want them to be trying to think like, oh, what's that mean? Oh, and then 3 minutes in, oh, okay, I get it.
It's not that funny, right? It's not a riddle.
Yeah.
It's not a riddle. Like you're supposed to notice. Like again, even if you haven't watched Austin Powers, you know who Dr. Evil is, right?
And he holds a cat. That's what I thought about. I'm like thinking, because I saw that face that he makes like ugh, like that, and then I'm always remember he's holding that cat. So I'm like, I'll just put the snow cat there.
Or the was it for the dragonfly? Me waiting for my dragonfly, and it's the drug warlord just sitting there waiting.
Oh yeah.
We've used it for 100 different ones.
Yeah, Escobar.
Yes.
Yeah, where he's just sitting there like a playground in the kitchen. Yeah.
Me watching everyone get my dragonfly or get their dragonfly.
Yeah. It helps too if it's something recognizable, right? That everyone knows. It has to be something that can't be like something that's just very, very
niche.
Yeah, very niche. Where somebody some indie movie that probably 10 people watch, right? That person thinks funny. You're like, oh, okay, I don't get it.
Like if I did a meme of some sort of something that a skateboarder did, people are gonna be like, that doesn't. What is that in reference to?
Yeah, Exactly.
But when you see something that sits there, like I did the one, and again, most people I knew people weren't going to get it. Was I put the Rattler on a milk carton from Guar, and it's from the "Have You Seen Me" video. I knew most people weren't going to get it.
Yeah.
Because most people don't listen to Guar, let alone the song "Have You Seen Me," right?
Yeah.
It made me laugh. But I'm also not expecting a big, huge, like, people laugh. But your shit, you do, like, the stuff, it's just so quick.
Well,
And you'll have, like, 3 or 4 out right away.
Yeah, it. Like I said, if it's something that comes in my brain and I'm like, oh yeah, but I have to be immersed, like, in the community, like watching with the Facebook groups and IG, and to know, like, to really get some idea of what's going on, and then I'll make a meme about it. Because there's times where I'm just working so much that I'm not posting anything. I'm just like so drained that I'm not, like, looking at IG or Facebook groups and stuff like that. And then so no memes for weeks. But.
And and you have and again, there's a lot of split in our community, a lot of groups, and you don't take shots at other people other than one person who we've stopped because we realize Instagram doesn't protect
care.
anyone.
Nope.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So again, in many ways, good for him. He figured out something.
And
right?
You could lie and cheat, but whatever.
Exactly. So I guess good for him for sticking up for himself, because no one else was going to stick up for him. But some of those ones that, and I know I had a whole bunch. You had a whole bunch. Mr. Popinski had a whole bunch. Mr. Popinski, I've talked to him a bunch of times. He's drifted away. I know he's still collecting and everything. He doesn't really post nearly as much. Every now and then I'll get a. Have you ever talked to him before?
Just in text.
Yeah,
message.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
I every now and then I'll get this motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got some of those too. Like,
And again, I know, like, with some of the stuff you've talked about, like, there are certain things that guy had said, and where you start to, like, after a while, you're like, is it just me? And then you hear 5 other people like, hey, you remember this? And you're like, God, I'm so glad it wasn't just me.
Yeah. Whatever. I just learned to ignore it. I'm like, just enough, man. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to, like. I'm not gonna let him live in my brain. Like, he's an ass. He's a jackass. And eventually, people will know when they won't follow him anymore, right? But
well, that's why it goes back to my feeling that, like, 75% of the Joe collectors are just G.I. Joe collectors. They don't understand the toy community, and there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of these G.I. Joe collectors, they see Super 7 selling $55 figures, and they're appalled because the figures are $55. They're appalled at the price, not at what how crappy the figure is made. And that's because they don't collect toys. And it's like, hey, all Super 7 are $55 or more. Or you wait and you'll get them for like $10. But that's another. And, like, they're appalled by that because they see a $55 price point and think that's crazy. I'm like, well, first off, spending $55 on a figure is, well, it's not really anything. There's more than enough of us in this chat right now that it's like $55. Shit, I wish I could find a Mezco for $55 that I liked.
Well, yeah, the movie realization Bandai, man, those are no less than $80-$90.
Yeah,
up to $130 or whatever. But they don't pump them out like.
You're right about that.
Or Black Series, So if you're collecting that, you're not really just breaking the bank, because they're not coming out in waves of 4 or 5, right? They're just coming one at a time.
But when they come out and you have to get them, and you're like, oh, it's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
So now that you're actually showing your face, which was a huge thing, Are you looking to do anything on YouTube or Instagram, or just jump on shows from time to time and
just talking to you dudes? That's about it.
because I know you've been on a Toy Kind of Mood. I believe someone said you were on Chad's recently.
I was on its chat too.
So,
yeah, I mean, if somebody invites me and I'm available, yeah, for sure, dude. I like talking toys, you know. So
it's easy.
I like the people, you know. There's a lot of cool YouTubers out there, man. Like a lot of cool people, you know. And if I'm not getting out to meet people at conventions, you know, what better way than just to talk to them, you know.
And this is so this whole thing, this whole YouTube journey, you know, when my ex and I split up and I set up like the PlayStation for my son and everything downstairs, you know, you're telling him, you're like these aren't your friends. You don't know these people. They're just people you met online. And then I get into this.
Yeah.
And this thing is like, some of my best friends are people that I've never met in person.
Yeah, it's true, man.
You know, like Tony and I talk all the time. And then it's like, you know, like he becomes one of your best friends. And then it's like, and then you meet him in person. And it's like, other than how tall he is or whatever, it feels like you've known him forever because you see him, you know, you see his expressions, how he acts, and other people too, obviously, right? And then you have to like basically say to your ex, like, yeah, we're totally wrong about him on these not being real friends. Like, these are real people. Like, you can make real friendships throughout this. But again, I think the visualization changes everything. Because before, to everyone, you were just that Grogu, that Sith Grogu.
Yeah, just a avatar and a voice, right? So
and you barely even went on anything.
Yeah, I mean, I went on Jay's channel a couple times, but I used my avatar Mega J Retro. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, it is because you know what? Also, when you need to see somebody's face, you're not talking over it. Because if you're just looking at my avatar, you don't know if I'm about to talk, if I got something to say, right? So, I mean, you need that as well. You know, I finally met Moody in person a couple weeks ago when he came back from San Diego Comic Con.
That's too bad.
And he swung through my neighborhood, and he actually got me the Black Series exclusive.
Well, that's interesting.
That was awesome, man.
That's interesting. So Moody was in your area and he contacted you. Hey Matthew, how many times did you say to Moody, "Oh, you've been in Dallas for 3 weeks. Why don't we go hang out?" You know.
Well, I contacted him when he was there, and I go, "Hey, dude, can you get me this Black Series?" It was actually Evan, the guy from SoCal Joe Show, was rooming with him, and he was able to get it for both of us. So.
Oh, okay.
Big shout out to him too. So he secured it, and Moody actually brought it, and I'm like in debt to that, man. That was so awesome because then I didn't have to go and try to get it online, and it sold out in seconds if nobody knows, and a lot of people were pissed, and I already got it, man. So thank you, Trav, thank you, Evan. But yeah, it's cool to finally meet people. So they live, KJ, he's in LA too. I'd like to go and meet him once, when he's around.
Well, how far away are you from?
From Moody, probably like an hour and 20 minutes, maybe. He's on the other side of LA, so I'm in Orange County by the beach, and he's on the other side. He's like closer to the valley, so no traffic. Probably like an hour and 20, maybe. But when is there no traffic? But luckily, he was actually swinging through. I'm like right by close to the 405 freeway, so I just met him. He popped off, and we met and talked a little bit, so it was cool. So.
No, there's a lot of guys out in California.
Yeah.
Now, other than Moody, have you met other people?
No, I met some people on Instagram that are from the area, that we follow each other, just toy collectors.
But you never met like Michael from Toy Habits?
Non-person, I want to, because he's in California too.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
But I mean, he's a little bit north. Him and because they went to him and Mega J Retro when he came down for STCC and Toy Sorcerer. So they all went to Frankenstein, which is about 50 minutes from me, on the freeway.
Okay.
So and I didn't know they were there. If I knew they were there, I would have driven up there and met with them. Yeah, because I'd like to meet them too in person.
And again, we went to Joe. I've been to Joe Fest twice now, and I just, last year or this year, shall I say, at Joe Fest, you're seeing these people, and I'm not talking about like Tony and Ed, who I talk to all the time, but like some of these other guys, Stephen Kelly from, he's from the other side of the world. Like I'm chatting with him and I'm like, I cannot believe it's been a year since we've hung out. It feels like it was just a couple weeks ago. Ray Murphy and these guys, like it's so cool to have that connection. And it's like you leave Joe Fest and you're like, I'm ready to go back. Though if you went like once a month, you'd probably be like, all right, I don't need to see these fuckers all the time.
Yeah, Spec probably lives closer than anybody to me because I think he's in LA.
That's what I was wondering.
How far somehow meet him. Yeah. Okay, probably 40 minutes away. Yeah, so I'm in HB, so yeah, we're probably closer than that, dude. So yeah, him. I have family that lives in Arizona, so if I ever visit them, I've never been to Arizona yet, and I have a brother and sister that lived there for like probably 5-6 years. So if I ever go down there, hopefully I can meet up with Tony. So
there's a lot of guys that are out in Arizona.
Yeah.
There are probably a few that you don't know either, because there's Tony, there's Crazy Tony, Tony, Crazy Tony. You got Mark from Gridiron, Johnny Reno, Matt O'Brien is out there. There's like there's a shitload of people. I think they're all
living in hell. It's so freaking hot there, dude. My sister and brother try to get me.
Tony's always whining about the heat.
They're like, you got to move out here. I'm like, God, dude, it's so fucking hot though, man. I don't know if I can handle that, dude. I played in a hockey tournament. Oh man, this is probably going 25 years ago. I went to Scottsdale. And it was so hot, man, that the pool was hot. You went in the pool and you were even hotter, man. It was just brutal, dude. It was like, I go, man, I don't know how people live in this heat, man. It is ungodly, dude. But they love it. My brother and my sister, they love it out there. So
it's beautiful, man. I went out there in 95 and 96, I think. My buddy went to ASU. After I flew out there for I flew out there once for spring break to hang out with him for like 10 days, and then I flew out there to drive home with him. That's when you find out that like some of your best friends, you may love them and all, but driving, that's when you find out who you can road trip with and who you can't. And we drove back from Arizona back to Michigan, and I don't think I talked to him for about 2 or 3 weeks after we got back. I was so pissed at him. I didn't want to have anything. But then you realize it's like, you're like, all right, you're going back to Arizona in like 3 months, and I haven't talked to you in like 3 weeks because you pissed me off so bad.
That's funny. Well, I think road trip depends on what kind of music people like too.
Well, we like the same music, but it was when you find out that you're driving their car. They drive completely different than you, and they can't sleep while you're driving. So it doesn't matter it doesn't matter. Like, why am I like, why, like, what does it matter? If you can't sleep, you're going to be up the whole damn time. You might as well just drive your own car. You know, and I love the guy, but oh my God, I was so aggravated. Oh.
Dude, I haven't done a road trip with people other than my family, dude, for like, oh man, at least like 10, 15 years probably. At least.
But I'll say this. In Ed, if Action Figs is still in the comments, we talked about this. There's people I probably could have driven down to Joe Fest with. I don't want to. I'd rather just drive myself. It's long, but the last thing I want to do is get stuck in a car, and then you're 3 hours into a 14-hour car ride, and you realize like there is a good chance that we don't make it there. There's a good chance that we don't make it there. And I think Ed kind of pretty much echoed the exact same thing. Although the first year I know he drove down with Teflon, but I think they had already known each other. So they kind of already knew. There are people I know I could drive with. But, you know, again, like sometimes, you know, it's just easier.
You just talk about toys, dude. It's easy. Talk about toys, put on some music. There you go. As long as
there he is. No road trip solo unless it's family, and even that's questionable. Yep. Yeah. I'm and Ed and I actually were like neck and neck for the last like 2 hours or something. But no, yeah, I just rather go by myself. Then I can pull over if I need a nap or whatever. Or you go with your kids.
I used to be able to drive like distances, but dude, now like lately, the 3 hour mark, man, I start getting tired, dude. I start getting so sleepy, man. It's hard, dude.
Tell me about it.
Like my dad, dude, he would drive like day and we would go camping. So we had an old camper, and my dad, we would go like up to Washington and shit like that, dude. My dad would. You know, we'd sleep in the camper the night before, and like 3 a.m, my dad's driving. He'd drive 3 a.m. till like evening the next day, and no issue, dude. He'd just have his black coffee. I'm like, I don't know if I can do that, dude. I couldn't.
As you get older, it gets harder. I mean, I drive all day, but I don't like drive like. I probably drive probably over half my day, but I'm stopping at places, which is way easier because, you know, at another job that I worked at, and I worked at this job for 24 years, so it tells you I was much younger too. To drive 4 to 5 hours to do like 1 or 2, maybe 3 jobs for 2 hours, and then you're turning around and driving home another 5 hours, that's exhausting.
It's brutal.
Where I could drive the same amount now, but, you know, I drive a half hour, I get out, do a job, jump in my car, drive an hour. Like, you know, you're not in there all the time.
I think part of it is because I don't get really much sleep. Like I'm a night owl, so I'll stay up to like 12, 1, and then, dude, I'm up like 5:30. You know, I'm like, all right, I can't go back to sleep. I start working, and I don't take naps, so I think that's what hurts me. I
hate naps. I hate naps. I feel like I wake up groggy, but I learned in the past 2 years doing Monday shows, I need a nap. And it doesn't bother me because if I take a nap at, let's say, I try and, you know, I try and take a nap around 7:30 so I can wake up at 8:30. Even though if I'm groggy, the moment this thing goes live, I'm up and ready. But like Monday, I mentioned it. I took a nap. 8:30. I told the alarm to go off at like 8:40. I woke up at 8:25. And now we're at the point that like the sun's going down, but I woke up in a panic thinking that I was late for work because it's about the same as 8:30 in the morning. And this has happened to me numerous times with this, and I woke up in a total panic. And then it takes you a good 5 minutes to figure out, like, oh, wait a minute. It's nighttime.
I've done that when I was younger. When I was in college, I would take naps, and that would happen too, where you'd wake up and you're like so disoriented, you think it's the next day. You're like, oh, what the hell? Did I sleep through the whole night?
Yeah. No, I'm again, and I'm one of those people. I usually go to bed about 2 a.m. and I wake up at 6:30. That's 2:30, very common for me, but it catches up to me because there'll be days that it's like it's 9 p.m. and I'm out.
So that's the only issue, though. Like when you start like working out, going to the gym, if you don't get enough sleep like that, like I'll get like crappy sleep, and then the next day I could work, but to get myself to the gym, dude, oh man, it is hard, dude. It is hard. You're like tired. You're fucking yawning.
Now,
dude, I'm taking coffee, just trying to get myself a jolt, just so I can get the workout in.
Are you able to sleep after you get done working out?
Well, I never go to see. My gym closes like at 9, so I'm working out, like taking a break during my work shift and going working out, or I'm going like 5 to 6 or 6 to 7, and I don't go to sleep till like 12 or 1 anyways, so it really doesn't affect me that way. So
I used to go to the gym at night and I can't sleep. Like, my buddy's a personal trainer. He could work out and then he's asleep the moment he gets home. I'm like wide awake. The problem is this here is the exact same thing. I'll be completely wound up. Monday night is even worse. When I was skating all the time, every Wednesday was fossil night. So it was from 9 to midnight. And then by the time I left the gym, or by the time I left the skate park, I wasn't getting home till normally 1 a.m. And I would probably be up to about 2:33. Because I'm wound.
Yeah.
I cannot sleep.
So when the 20s, when I first started working out, I was at LA Fitness. And so I'd work out like 11 o'clock at night till 12. And then there was a bunch of group of people that we all worked out at 9. That we'd like go in the parking lot bullshit for another hour. But that time I'd go to sleep. What I had trouble was when I do the hockey adult leagues, some of the time the ice time is weird when you play adult leagues. So you get a lot of times you're playing, so you got 10 p.m. games, and so you're not coming home till midnight. And then that's when you're having trouble like unwinding to go to sleep. And if you have to work the next day, dude, you're screwed. But
I mean, I know when we graduated, I had a lot of friends that played hockey, and they weren't doing it in a league or anything. They were renting ice, and they're like, okay, we have it from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. You can get it from 4 to 5, and I'm like, what? And they're like, you get it when you can get it.
Yep.
So they would wake up, and at 3 a.m. they were going to the rink because that's the time that. And I'm like, I've never ice skated, so I don't. I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah, because they would have usually they do open skate, and then you would have the people that are doing lessons like ice skating lessons, right? So they'd have the ice during like the real peak times.
Yeah.
Then after that, it would be leagues. So then if you do want to rent ice, like people rent ice to do like broom ball or stuff like that. Yeah, you're not 1, 2, 3 in the morning. That's when you're gonna get the ice.
Yeah, and I've never been. There's a lot of people, especially as we've gotten older. There'd be like groups of like over 40-year-old skateboarders, and they're like, "Yeah, we're all hitting the skate park at 8 a.m. if you want to come." I'm like, my legs don't work at that. Like, you can go to a gym because everything is very static, right?
Yeah.
If you're training chest, everything is the same movement. If you're doing back, it's the same thing. Legs, skateboarding is a constant. You're moving. I would assume like hockey would be the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And I even have friends now, the younger guys. They're like, "Yeah, we're gonna hit the skate park at like 9 a.m." And I'm like, "The fuck you are!" Like,
you are, not me.
It sounds good, and my buddy Tony's the same way, man. He's like, I can't go that early. I mean, I can roll around, but to do tricks, it's already hard enough as it is at this age. Let alone you want me to try and do it first thing in the morning? Like, no. Like,
Well, you hit old man status is when every time you get up from a chair, you have to make a sound like, oh. It's sad. I catch myself doing that, dude. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm my dad now, man.
It's
you wake up every morning. You're waking up with some kind of ache, right? I got my shoulder or my leg, my hip. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, or your ankle pops as you walk.
Oh yeah. But I've had that, dude, forever. My ankles pop.
Yeah, but like my ankle, it pops all the time. But first thing in the morning, I can get usually a really good pop out of it. As I'm walking down the steps, just makes this big loud pop, and then you're like, all right. Well, it is after midnight here. I said, how long? It's been 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
Chaz the Guru on Instagram. That's it. Chaz _the_guru.
If there's anyone that's not following him here, I'll be absolutely shocked.
Thank you.
Getting old does suck. You know, all those people, it's funny, all the people that say age is only a number, you're like, that's because you're fucking 20, dude.
That's right. But hey, you know what? I caught on to some of these reels showing like the ages of the actors and stuff back in like the 40s, 50s, and 70s, the sitcoms, and you see how old they look, and they're like younger than we are now. And you're like, oh, dude, do we look that old? There's no way. Why did they look so old back then?
So, I've said this a couple times. I know, like last year, I was like, hey, let's watch Elf, like Alien Life Form, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there with Olivia, you know, my 16-year-old daughter now, and we're watching it, and I'm just like, how old is Willie? And I look him up. I'm like, I go, do I look as old as him? And she's like, no. I go, how old do you think he is? And she's like, I don't know, in his 50s. I'm like, he's like 37 there.
Dude, it is a trip,
and here you're like 48. Now, don't get me wrong. We know Willie had a lot of issues with drugs and stuff. But you go look at, like, you know, the Keatons, right? You know, they Dad looked old.
Archie Bunker, dude. Archie Bunker. I think he was in his 40s.
The Golden Girls, I think, were our age when they did that.
Yeah. And they look like in their 70s, right? Dude, it is a trip, dude. But, you know, I guess, you know, if you look at those old shows, everybody drank, everybody smoked, right? Everyone has, like, some kind of alcohol drink. Everyone's smoking. I don't know. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
How many times have you looked at someone who's a smoker and you're like, oof. And then they open their mouth and start talking to you and went, yep. And everyone that has a smoking voice, they all sound the same.
Yep, the gravelly smoker voice.
I work with a woman. I don't know how old she is. I haven't seen her, and she doesn't come in anymore. She works from home, thank God. And she sounds exactly like my aunt. I mean, exactly like my aunt, who was a smoker, you know, to the day she died.
Like, yeah, my mom was a chain smoker too, man. The hair smelled like smoke. The car smelled like smoke, dude. Look at
Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt are. Then you look at comparable age actors in the 70s. Yeah, it's Cocoon is the big one that everyone talks about. Those guys were like in their like mid 40s, I think, when they did it.
Yeah, diabetes, man. Brimley, right? You got the diabetes, right? Get your Lancets. Get your test strips.
Yeah, and it is very true though. Like, times have changed, and you know, I look at someone who's in their 60s, and you're like, it's not a death sentence. But I know as a kid, someone who was 50, it's like that's a grandparent.
Yeah, my kids think I'm ancient. Like you're 50. Wow, how old? God, you're so old, Dad. You're so old. Oh my God. old. Leave me alone.
But I do believe that once you stop moving around, that's when you truly fall apart. That's when you truly fall apart. And we see a lot of people that are like that.
Dude, I'll tell you, a year ago, I started getting like that where I just felt like I was kind of like losing some balance and just having a hard time like just tying my shoe and I just felt awful. And then I don't know if I told you, I got diagnosed with diabetes, right? Like I didn't know I was having like some health issues, and they tested my blood, dude. My blood sugar was like just crazy. I had A1C. I don't know if you know anything about A1C. A1C is supposed to be normal is like 5.6 or under, dude. I was 11.9, dude. I was like fucking off the charts.
Damn.
And so, dude, I cut out everything, and so I'm watching videos. I started working out. That's the number one thing I started working out. I started going, okay, I'm gonna work out. So I work out like almost every single day now. And I got off all the medication, and like I feel good now. My balance is freaking awesome now. I can like stand on one leg and balance, But you're right. If you stop moving and you just start becoming sedentary, because between when I stopped playing hockey and working out till when I got diagnosed with diabetes, I just really didn't do much. I didn't do much. I was just eating a lot of ice cream and shit like that. And,
ice cream's good.
I know. I hadn't eaten ice cream for like 8 months after I got diagnosed, because I cut out everything. I went like cold turkey. I'm like, dude, I'm going to freaking kick this thing, right? And so I started doing supplements and all this and that. I cut out that. I finally did ice cream probably about a month ago. And, dude, man, I enjoyed it. Like I missed it. But now, now that I'm, got my health in order and stuff like that, I'm off medication. I can eat normal things again, and I'm not going crazy on like carbs and shit like that, but I can still eat like whole food carbs, like real potatoes. I'll fry up some breakfast potatoes with onions and stuff like that, and I can eat a hamburger with a bun now. So, anyways, that was my health journey. But yeah, don't stop moving, dude. Keep working out. I feel so much better now, man.
No, that's what Matthews always says. Motion is lotion, and he's a doctor, so he's a physical doctor. So he deals with all that stuff, and so. But anyway, I'm gonna let you go. I have to.
I know, man. Thanks, man.
No, thank you.
Thanks for anybody that watched. I don't have the most exciting life, but it was cool.
No, but people want to. Believe me, people want to know who you are. They want to know about you. Some people probably hate you because you've probably done memes that upset them.
Yeah. I try not to do anything that like offends people. If it's funny and it's borderline, I'll do it. Then if it's borderline, I'll do it. But I'm not trying to offend anybody. And besides Patrick from Star Wars, I really didn't go hard on anybody. Like I would do his face on a million memes, man. The guy probably hates.
You did.
But they were funny, though, right? They were funny. He was the face of Star Wars, of the Star Wars brand, So
there was one other person you went pretty hard on.
Yeah, that guy's an asshole.
So I think we all did.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Guy's an ass clown.
And unlike Patrick, he deserved it.
Yeah.
Patrick was just doing his job.
You know what? I never did anything that I thought was mean to Patrick, like anything personal or anything like that. And some people would send me things that were kind of personal, like I'm like, yes, I'm gonna. He's not doing anything wrong, He's just the face of the brand, And so it was easy for me to put his face
yes.
on things to get the meme across about the state of the Star Wars collecting, at the time.
So. All right, I'm going to take off. Thank you very much, Chaz. It's great to finally actually go face to face and chat.
Yeah, dude, for sure, man. Hopefully we get to meet in person someday.
Joe Fest.
Maybe, man. That's far, but that's the other side.
We're still standing with Comic-Con. So.
I know.
Although my daughter lives in San Diego right now, so. But like next year I can't. Like next year. I'm going to Joe Fest and then literally going from Joe Fest right down to Orlando. So I'm taking 2 weeks off. So I'm hoping in 2 years I'll be able to go to San Diego Comic-Con if my daughter's still living out there. Because I'll just crash on her couch.
Yeah, it's cool, dude.
Save
all right.
So anyway, thank you very much. Follow him, Chaz the Guru. I think I forgot to put your information in the description, but everyone knows where to find you.
That's all right.
If there's anyone here that isn't subscribed, I'd be absolutely blown away.
Cool.
So
Thank you.
thank you for joining, and everyone, you guys know where you can find me. But go check out Chaz if you haven't already. Everyone, have a wonderful night.
Night night.